I think it's time for the semifinals. AM against Suomi, trying to find out who faces Secret tomorrow in the best of 9 finals. And we can start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. With me will be Mr. Dash. Maybe you give a quick introduction of yourself and then we go over what's happening on the battleground.
All right, awesome. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Dash James Patterson from the League of Legends community, host over there, and avid AoE2 fan. Not nearly as experienced as Nilly here, but I know a thing or two, and I'm just happy to be along for the ride. So let's dive into it and see which of these two teams is going to be moving on to the grand finals just tomorrow.
Indeed, and I'm super excited to see that. The Max is going for the pocket play, no surprise here, and he will play with the Franks, expecting a lot of scouts from him. Arguably the strongest pocket position here, and well, we hope to see a lot of patterns from him.
Yep, pocket position for Max is his comfort position, and of course for Velez and Zupi out there onto the flanks, very comfortable as well. So, sticking to what they know in this situation, Frank pocket with Vikings on one flank over there for Velez, and of course Zupi with the Ethiopians. So very strong civs to kick things off here on Arabia, as would be expected. But from there, we've got to hop over to the other side of the map and check out their opponents in AM.
It is MBL playing Vietnamese. Remember, guys, that Britons was banned, so we won't see them here as one of the flank civilizations in MBL. He loves his Vietnamese, tries to go for some laming, might find 2 sheep, misses them barely, and I think he won't really find a good elephant way to protect it, but, well, he will get away with 2 sheep.
Yeah, finds those sheep, a nice little lame, something he's patently known for. So MVL already taking a small advantage right off the start. Don't forget that Vietnamese bonus where you can see enemy TCs. So communicating that information over to his teammates nice and early, making sure that they take the small advantages on Arabia and kick this best of 5 off on the right foot. Hera finds himself in the pocket position for AM, one of the few teams that is super willing to trade positions based on the strategy they want to go for and the civs they want to play game to game. So this time around, it will be Hera on the very strong Indians pocket civ. And of course, we'll round things out with Leary back on the map. Mayans, one of his most comfortable civs there on the other flank.
Absolutely, and he is such a beast, and so many people always asking me, who do I think is the top 3, top 4 in the world? How does my dream team look like? And I always say, Leary as the flank seems to be my number 1 in the world at the moment.
I think it's a tough one to argue when Leary is in form. When this guy is playing at his absolute best, that micro is hard to beat, and in a lot of ways has pushed the scene forward, right? Just a number of years ago, that dancing with the splits to beat ballistics, that came from Leary, quickly picked up by a lot of other pros, and now is incorporated just as an expected part of top-level play. But from here, Nilly, as Dark Age rolls through, and these players get their ecos set up, I think it's a good time to talk about civ strengths and weaknesses, where these players have chosen to throw certain civ powers behind certain players. Of course, we know that Indians is a very strong pocket civ right across from the Franks, but I want to talk a little bit about the power of Ethiopians and the Vikings here on the flank for Suomi.
Well, Vikings obviously probably the common flank civilization that isn't really relying necessarily on the power of the crossbow. No extra range, no extra firepower, can't really build them cheaper or anything. But simply having wheelbarrow for free, handcart for free, gives you this incredible economy. Therefore, sitting back a bit, but then having Arbalest before everyone else is really where it kicks in.
Eco is the name of the game for the Vikings over there, as we see 2 players currently researching Loom, generally the indicator that they're looking to go feudal soon. There's the click for both of them. So that will be the pocket player on each side with a quick feudal, which indicates scouts is the opening. So we'll have plenty of military action here early on in the set.
Pop 20 is what Hera loves. He's the guy who... I just watched his stream yesterday. While we see the lame here against Zupi on the woodline, 4 HP might get away here. No, he won't. Nice lame here by Mr. Leary in help with Hera to start this one off. And Hera, he really likes to be up very nice and early. Yesterday I watched the stream and he clicked up at Pop 22 and he felt like, what? I'm so late about everything. When you're think that other people feel like Pop 22 is a really normal uptime.
The first big advantage here goes over to AM, and you'll take every advantage you can get at this level of play. From here, it's a question of communication as we see MBL with the Drush coming in just to harass a little bit on Velez's berries. So, again, a nice little advantage. These top-level players taking incremental advantages and looking to snowball those into victory.
And MBL with the aggression and some map control. Well, Velez, he couldn't really go for his main gold there. Needs to go for the back. Map control needs to be secured later. And he goes for the Man-at-Arms a bit later. While MBL, is he just playing Drush FC? His map layout looks like it.
Yeah, the walls are coming up, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep the focus over there in Velez's base, using that Drush to waste as much time as he can, as we saw both pocket players hitting Fetal, dropping those stables now. Scouts onto the map soon enough. Which side will they go to? The most defining characteristic of every 3v3 map in AoE is the fact that you can create those 2v1 situations. And for both of these teams, we've seen they're entirely capable of winning a game with a feudal age push and quickly taking people off guard with a 2v1, as we have a Drush engagement here between both players, MBL and Velez.
Yeah, and you see Velez isn't even clicking the Man-at-Arm upgrade. He just wants to clear this one up. Then needs to do a lot of damage with his archers, though. And look at the minimap. 4 red dots moving towards MBL.
There it is. Now, not too much lost or gained here. Aside from that scout going down, of course, Velez keeps his up. And immediately you see that scout moving forward, looking for information. He wants to know, what is MBL up to? Vils are already forward, and it's a tower rush in response to those walls being up.
Oh, and, well, MBL, he is at 80%, and that actually won't be a fast castle. Look at that 200 food. That will just be a kind of late rush into, well, normal feudal archer play. Probably goes on to stone now, but won't have a lot of gold control for himself.
Yeah, very curious then. You got to wonder what went wrong here, as a couple of those bills around the goal. There it is. Feudal gets hit. The tower goes immediately up, looking to stem the bleeding here, as Velez puts the foot on the gas pedal, trying to break those walls and get some damage done.
But the tower was in the wrong position here. Needs to be replaced. He won't have a lot of stone for repair. Therefore, he goes onto stone, but that's way more work than he wanted to do.
This tower drop alone is causing so much idle time out of MBL. Will he even get it up? We have the Vils moving forward to batter it down. Velez finding way more damage than he should have, I think, with this early aggression.
And the repositioning for MBL was nice, but Velez instantly got fletching and therefore outranged MBL again. This is such a nice opening for our Finnish player.
A second tower goes down. House walls are coming up to do as best he can to keep all of that aggression outside of his base, but the damage is done here. MBL reduced to dropping a range in the back of his base. We'll have to see what he can come up with, where on the flip side of the map, Hera has thrown his scouts to the other side. So we have archer and scout aggression onto Zupi, who's currently fending it alone. How can he handle it?
Well, the CC obviously helps out. They're trying to jump some, but Hera thinks better of it. Took some damage here. And Zupi, although getting doubled, not any losses on his side. That was really, really important. Where are the scouts of the max? Not really finding any damage either.
Yeah, camping outside of Hera's base, so kind of looking for information more than achieving any kind of pressure here. I like the call out on Zupi being able to keep that pressure off of himself. In the 2v1 situation, those walls went up. They weren't easy to get up, but he did manage, and he's got an advantage just because of it. The question is, you know, for Max, with those 6 scouts, that's a lot of resources that he has just patrolling outside of Hera's base that aren't really achieving much.
Yeah, and even 8 scouts on the map here. 2 spearmen moving out there as well. And, well, he goes for wheelbarrow now. Resources aren't looking too bad. 400 food, 150 gold for him.
Well, you know, I said those scouts were a waste, but as I say that, I see a little bit of red on the minimap moving over towards Hera. So I wonder if the call here was with MBL throwing up those house walls. Do we start transitioning our pressure over to the pocket?
Well, it seems like it, and it's surprising how few players are actually getting onto their main gold spots here, because they're so open. Players really good at adjusting to the situation, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Hera isn't too scared of this attack, though. He is walled and his TC in a reasonable spot.
The walls are up. There's the first indicator that he's about to take some pressure. Blacksmith being dropped in the back of his
Other side,
base.
though, Hera did get into the base of Elise.
Ooh, taking a look at that. Yes, we got one Vil down, three scouts down in response. So we'll have to wonder whether or not that's worth it when he's got this amount of pressure now coming into his base at home.
Oh yeah, and there's not a lot of help coming either, right? Look at that. MBL is sending 4 skirms and 1 archer. That's not a lot of help if we look at that amount of scouts out on the field.
Leary's sending archers over to help with that pressure, but as he does that, that gives Zupi permission to move forward onto his base. He's trying to get those walls up here on the left side of his wood line, but the Vil goes down and his archers are being caught out in transition.
Oh, now some micro at the front. Archer traded against the Spearman. Seems like a higher hill for Zupi at the moment. Not really sure if he wants to go with the dance there against Leary. But it would buy time for his team.
Tough situations on both sides. We've got pressure in 2 different spots on the map. We have an engagement now. The Max throwing his scouts in on top of Leary's remaining archers here with that support from his teammate in Velez. Moving into the base. Luckily, TC fire will help in the defense, but the scouts are running through. He's looking for damage.
Oh, Hera tried to go for some walls, won't really happen. The scouts having 1 defense upgrade and the extra HP with Franks. It's not easy to fight those down with villagers. Hera even goes for the walls behind that, but that's his own death trap.
My goodness, yeah, he'll settle for getting the scouts down, but he'll lose some villagers in response. We're going to have to take a look at those Vil counts at the end of all of this to take a look at the eco, see where everybody stands as the Castle Age clicks are coming through. In fact, the Max will be the first one to hit in just a couple percentage points here.
Yeah, so Hera is sitting at 31 villagers, the Max 3 more, plus a solid 50% lead there. So I see him having like 5 villagers more at the moment. That's a significant advantage that early in the game.
Without a doubt. And while that was happening, those archers of Zupi did get a couple more Vil kills onto Leary's gold and forced a tower to be dropped. So the typical Mayans play, looking to get to castle, drop some extra TCs for the cheap boom from Mayans and the castle. That's going to be slowed down because of the waste of stone there.
Well, his stone spots aren't looking too great for him either. Let's take a look if Zupi can find an opening. Castle Age timing will be later for him. Leary even forced to mix in some skirmishes because he felt defending this alone won't be that easy for me.
Yeah, the trash in the team game, never a good indicator of the position of an individual, but as he is able to hold on to this wood line, that's the most important thing. Hit castle, get those upgrades. Perhaps he can defend, but 2 knights arriving with +1 armor from the Max. This is going to make things even more difficult for Leary.
Ooh, how can he defend this one? Can't really take the fight. Well, but he's doing a reasonable job of keeping his villagers safe.
Yeah, here we go. The camels making their way over from Hera. We got 4 camels to help with defense. This might be enough to shove Suomi back. You know, while all this action is happening on this side of the map, MBL's been exceedingly quiet, still making his way, or just making his way to castle and finding that crossbow upgrade. Really looking for him to get involved into this game and help AM find their way back into it.
Yeah, and Velez, he feels so little pressure from MBL during all this time. He goes over with his reasonably small flock of crossbowmen, trying to get the triple over there. But MBL, if you leave him alone for too long, no matter how good you're opening, it might come back to you.
And we have the retreat from AM over the hills, looking to regroup and find positioning. The crossbow upgrade did just come in for Velez, but low army numbers right now on those expos as he regroups his army. Camping the hill, we've got a little pause in the action as everybody finds their upgrades and tries to sort out their ecos at home.
Yeah, Zupi needed to retreat. He was later there. Skirm numbers weren't obviously great against him. But now, as we said, the 3v1 engagement, while MBL isn't finding any real stuff to shoot at, I think this should go better for Suomi.
Now, this could be a breakpoint, exactly. We've got 3 armies against 2, but notably, Ballistics just came in for Leary. Probably one of his favorite upgrades, the Micro Nerd, with the hill advantage, might be looking to out-micro and take the victory here. Ballistics only halfway completed for Zupi so far.
Hera with solid camel numbers though, if we look at that. And he has 12 camels here on the field. Did get both defense upgrades already. On the other side, knight numbers are at 10, so not shabby either. Still everyone with a lot of HP.
Yep, and those camels and those knights have equivalent defensive upgrades when you're looking at their pierce armor. The +3 for the camels, 2+1 for the knights, so they're essentially the same effectiveness against the crossbows defensively right now as the engagement starts with the hill advantage. Does Leary have enough along with Hera to take down 3 armies as just the 2 of them? MBL still nowhere to be found.
He is like 1.5 screens away now, but it will be really tough for them to communicate that. Both teams kind of camping on the hill. MBL will arrive, but he could get caught off guard. Now he might face the 3-1 all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, we've got 3 knights coming in from behind. Let's see how AM reacts when they find out that MBL's getting pincered. Will they just decide to pull the trigger on the fight? Looks like they will as the camels come in. They find a good engagement. We've got Expos on both sides. It's really about numbers and army control here. The camels doing work against the knight front line. The Expos are going down. Leary's micro picking off all of those range units to make sure that the camels can get the work done. And it's AM who comes out on top in this one, right next to Zupi's base. Let's see if they can turn this pressure into any real advantage and damage.
Holy moly, now on the map like 70 to 20 military or something like that, because Leary and MBL still have their full armies left, and the Max, he needs to drop some stables. He didn't get onto the numbers because he instantly dropped the extra TCs. Is thinking about imping maybe at one point. No, not really. Like, he needs to get at least 30 knights out in castle. It's something you really don't want to do, but otherwise his flanks will die.
Yeah, 3rd stable coming up just now as the pressure's arriving from AM. I love this decision from AM to bring the pressure to the pocket, not to stay at the flank, and putting damage immediately onto the stables that were just built.
Oh god, and how do you build up your numbers then? I think he needs to drop some more stables in the back. But, well, that's not going to be easy. That's a 2nd gold spot there that he needs to evacuate. Indeed, get some more stables there, but, well, military numbers at the moment, he's at 10. Only 10 knights.
10 knights and a couple of packs of crossbows coming in to reinforce right now. But again, it just feels like Suomi's not in the position they need to be in order to take an advantageous fight. Another stable going back up in the back of Max's base, just trying to keep that production up. If they can hold him here at this TC while losing that farm space, perhaps he can get the numbers up to find the fight to bring it back.
Now they're forcing 10 idols. As we said earlier, the max eco was so much better. He's 20 villages ahead still. So the moment they clear this one up, it looks pretty good. But how can they? The thing is, if Hera just constantly produces now, this army won't be cleared up in Castle Age.
2 stables down. That's 350 wood. A 3rd one going down now. Look at all these farms that he was pushed off. So it's not just the 10 idle villas. It's all of this wood down the drain. It's all of that food down the drain that would have been provided by those farms. This is doing more damage than would be expected to the Max's eco. And his knight numbers still sitting just around that 10 mark for army numbers.
Oh, goddy. And yeah, the numbers are just scary. Zupi is kind of putting his toe in there, but oh boy, look at that army running at him. He tries to get out of there, but I don't think he can wall this one off.
Nilly, I love this. They've done enough damage to the Max. They say he won't ever catch up in the numbers. Let's take this army advantage. Let's roll it to where their army is not. Let's end this game here and now by throwing the hammer down on Zupi. The camels are in. Both packs of crossbows are in. They're diving under the TC to look for some damage. All right, pull them back. They're going to take the foot off the gas for just a moment as they look for more eco damage here on the right side of Zupi's base. What's the response here for Suomi? It's looking like this could be a game-ending play.
They're sending everything there, but it's tough to coordinate if you come from 2 different angles. It's a tight choke point, so Hera is having some problems getting through there. It's not the worst engagement I've ever seen, but it's still, like, you see, at the moment, Zupi is fighting. The other 2 at the top aren't.
Yeah, it is just, it's impressive control from AM. They recognize where the advantage is for Suomi. They say we don't have to engage in this specific part of the map as Scorpions are making their way out in low numbers here for the Max. So investing into Siege of all things to say, hey, we haven't done enough in Castle. Imp is a far thought for him. We have to find a way to get back into it here and now.
And the same problem again. Look at that. Now the 3v2 fight here. Zupi not really there. Hera, a nice way of debating there with his camels, buying some time. But that's just, again, armies getting cleared up. But, knight numbers are now looking reasonable all of a sudden.
Yeah, knight numbers are strong, and with that hill advantage, they will take down the camels. Now, it's important to note the imp times that are coming in. We've got 2 imp times for the AM team and only 1 for the Suomi team. So that may contribute to the lack of army numbers that we're seeing here from the AM team and why Suomi's able to push back a little bit. The question is, will Suomi get damage done before all those imp upgrades come through and AM sends another wave?
I would be really surprised because clearing something up at your own base doesn't mean you can instantly counterattack, right? You need to run over the whole map. Crossbow, not the fastest thing on their feet. So I think Leary just running back, getting the upgrades, and then launching another attack seems more likely.
And it may have been Suomi with the first imp time over there for Veles. That Viking eco still doing work for him, but it'll be 2 imps quickly to follow from both Leary and MBL, the archer players, for the side of AM. So with, double Arbalest or possibly a swap into Plumes once the first castle goes up, it's going to start be, a lot of range pressure coming in from the side of AM.
And MBL, no, not MBL, the max behind this, 20 food at the moment. Imp is so far away from him.
Yeah, you contrast that to 600 food and already enough gold for Hera. He's maybe only a few seconds away from clicking his way up to Imp. At this point, it's about holding the map state, keeping control for AM before delivering that killing blow. And for Suomi, they're going to have to find an inventive and creative way to do damage and find a way back into this game, I think.
If we look at villager numbers though, Leary only sitting at 60. I'm not really sure if he missed any raids there or if Leary is just playing 1 TC all in this whole time. He did produce out of 5 archer ranges. Yeah, his numbers are scary, but I thought that was because his eco was so good.
Oh my goodness, what a good call out there, Nilly. Completely flying under the radar there. Only 1 TC from Leary. This will be interesting to see how it affects the rest of the game moving forward, because you look at that score over there on the right-hand side and it actually isn't that much separate. In fact, Suomi of all teams with the score advantage.
That's really surprising to me as well. But, taking a fight uphill there won't be a beautiful thing for you. Let's take a look at the stone count for Leary. He's sitting at 350. A castle up on that hill would control so many valuable resources of Zupi.
Oh my goodness, take a look at the top side of the map. The castle being dropped in the face of the Viking player. We were asking how MBL would get involved, after what was a kind of a weird start for him. A poor start in that feudal age. But here in Imp, dropping a forward castle, stables behind, looking to do some damage and do it quickly.
Oh man, and now the overchop there of Belize doesn't really look too great for him. Now stables even being dropped. MBL, is he following this up with some elephants? Then it gets really tricky to defend if you only have archer ranges for now.
Yeah, he's got 1 group of Arbalists around the backside of the base. I love separating the armies out, forcing the giant exodus of villagers out the back of Veles's base to the mining camp and the market, looking to find any gold income and wood income that he can. But even those 3 Arbalists on the top left side from MBL doing such amazing harassment of the eco.
Oh, and Willy is now sending all his Arbalest back. Finally, Knights are called to aid as well. Not even sure how much they will do. And the big problem at the right-hand side, Zupi losing everything here. And, well, the Arbalest numbers just looking so sexy from Leary.
Yeah, how do we complement a forward castle on the left-hand side? We put a mirrored castle on the right-hand side. There's that first Mayan castle on the hill in forward position for Leary, moving straight onto that gold. Plumes will be on their way out onto the map in just some time, as Hera in Imperial Age got those camel upgrades and first armor upgrade on its way in, while the Max is just now finding his way to the final age.
Oh yeah, well, we still have to think that Zupi only clicked up now as well. Leary even now finishing Obsidian Arrow attack, so not a single building in the Max base is safe now anymore. I think even they could even go for this castle, honestly. Look at that. Dash, don't tell me they're going for the castle.
Oh my goodness.
Arbalists and camels.
This is the resign now play here. You send the castles under the base of the, or you send the camels under the base of the castle, the Arbalists into range, and you say, we're taking it down here and now.
Oh, and I'm not sure
What a
if we
statement.
finished Chivalry before that one. And yeah, now we have obviously heavy camels as well. I don't think that Imp camels will be too far away. Meanwhile, big problems on the Lee side. The Max is in troubles as well. It's looking great.
Yeah.
Basically nowhere.
The Max had to send Knights all the way to the top corner to deal with just 5 Arbalists while the rest of his base is in shambles here. AM pedal to the metal here, and there, the GG gets called. The first resign comes through. An impressive close out of AM. Once they found control in Castle, they did not let up.
Whew, that was really nice play. And MBL, he was so far off, but Leary and Terra both going for heavy army, could just camp on the hill. Then all three could combine their armies, and it just felt from there on, they always took the easier fights. It was always 3v1, 3v2. They could dictate the fights, and Suomi could never combine armies, I felt.
Yeah, 100%, which was so interesting based on the feudal positions that we found Suomi in. Once Velez had control of the left side against MBL, it felt like an easy step for them to gather their armies and move to the pocket of Hera, but we saw that AM, Hera, Leary were able to extend pressure onto the right side of the map and force Suomi to respond of all things. And once they found control there with quicker castle times, pressure onto the pocket, the Max losing his production buildings, and then once enough damage was done to the pocket, you say, hey, we don't have to end it here. Let's go do damage elsewhere and control the fights. Yeah,
and faster castle each time. You always say Leary is the guy with the greatest micro, but he's also so clean in his build-ups, and that allows him to go for the castle age, and then it's so much easier for him to shine if he has crossbow and fights off low-tech units.
Nilly, he never built a second TC. Oh, no, he did. He did right at the end. I found it here on the right side with on the gold. But in a semi-final team game tournament against one of the other top 4 teams in the world, this man gets away with essentially 1 TC eco into the Imperial Age and comes away with the victory. I mean, it's just masterclass in aggression.
Indeed. Let's take a look at the statistics then and see that MBL actually got the most kills in this game. Something we would not have predicted if we were asked at the 12-minute mark.
Not in a million years. Not in a million years.
Then Hera only getting 31 kills in there. He was obviously the one like taking a lot of shots, fighting a lot against the Max army, something that you really need to fight for a lot to get the kills in. But Leary, Obsidian Arrows, he actually got 12 kills without any siege.
Wow. You know, I think the most impressive thing out of Hera there was the production in Castle Age. We talked about the importance of those camel numbers, especially when they were applying the pressure to the Max. It just there were never enough knights to deal with the number of camels, and that was what gave AM the permission to push forward.
Soppy, not even reaching Imperial Age in this game. Villager count Sigurd, which is not really sure why that one backed out. Release, obviously. 97 villagers here. And Leary at 68 only. It feels so weird. But, well, if he gets the army on the field, if he doesn't lose the army, sounds still good to me.
Now, of course, we do have to remember, this is just game 1, right, of a best of 7, and still plenty of runway for both of these teams to find advantages. And Civ picks is something that is going to come into play. We talked about, you know, the strengths and weaknesses of each of these civilizations within the game itself, but we didn't necessarily talk about these different civs within the context of the entire series. You know, where they were picked up in terms of the draft order and the priority each of these teams placed on them, but also, you know, what options they're using now and which options they're saving for later. These civs are going to come into play one way or another the further we get into the series.
Absolutely. Unless we finish this one 4-0, we will see at least all those civilizations. And, well, we can see that AM actually picked quote-unquote weaker civilizations for themselves. Pick 3, 6, and 7 invested here, and Suomi went for pick 2, 3, and 4 and still lost the game.
There's a piece of me that is quite surprised at how late in the draft Indians went there. for AM, able to pick up Indians in that 7th position there behind Vietnamese of all civs. But you're exactly right in calling out the priority here out of AM was much lower on their civs in the Arabia game, and yet they were still able to come out on top. So they're going to feel good about that one. And again, the question will be for Suomi, what does this do to their momentum? How do you mentally recover when you feel you put out the stronger civs but still took the loss?
Well, it's still Suomi. They probably expected to not be the favorite on Arabia, right? They are the guys that prepare a lot for their home maps. They can deliver a lot on pre-prepared strategies, and they can put some wild games on you, especially African waters. AM, they won't know what's happening.
Absolutely. In fact, actually, that's a question I don't know the exact order of the maps today. Do we have that ahead of time?
Suomi can now choose out of all 4 of those maps. So they can pick their home maps or even home maps of AM.
Oh, ooh, interesting. Okay, I like that little bit of a twist. So still some questions to be answered there on what the next map will be. In your experience, do you feel like Suomi, obviously they've picked their home maps rather, so we have to believe that they think they're strong on those maps, but is there one in particular that you feel Suomi has a mastery of, or maybe would be their turnaround map pick if they really needed to come back in this one?
I think African waters with the Rubenstock, he makes it so wild. You see like walls everywhere, some weird towers sneaking into pawns, like fighting on all 4 pawns. And Suomi, they're so good at being so extremely annoying. I think AM will hate their lives playing African waters against Suomi.
Yeah, messy games. Messy games seem to be where Suomi can thrive because of that coordination. Interestingly enough, the play that AM executed there in attacking the pocket in game 1 is something that you've seen Suomi do time and time again. Find their way to get all 3 armies grouped up in feudal or castle and do an extraordinary amount of damage to an unsuspecting pocket player. And Rubenstock, like you said, if he has a mastery over one thing, it's a mastery over making the game messy. And so we'd have to look for him to do that if he ever gets pulled in.
Yeah, and Suomi actually tried to do that in the game number 1 as well, right? But Hera, he was just sitting so well with all his walls. He lost a solid 3-4 villagers there, maybe even 5, to the scouts going in. But that was all the army lost for Suomi as well. And then untouched MBL at home after he built the defensive tower, untouched Lyria at home, and then they could snowball.
Yeah, honestly, impressed, slightly amazed at how MBL was able to kind of claw back into it based on that pressure that was done early. Remember, 2 different towers he tried to place that all went down to that early pressure, forced house walls, and still was able to get the military production up and end up being the first person to the Imperial Age in that game. MBL's level, it's no secret the guy is a top level player, but even more recently, he has admitted himself, a month or 2 ago, with some of his focus on school, he didn't feel like he was really at the top of his game. But this last month, it seems that he's rising again, and it's been cool to see him compete in the way that we know he can.
Yeah, it was a tough start for him to Definitive Edition, right? At the start, he couldn't really play. Then he didn't have time for NAC. Hidden Cup, not really his breakthrough performance there. So people were, especially like fanboys, kind of were waiting, when is this breakthrough performance? And it feels like Battle of Africa now, he really showed some strong performances at the flank, and that one was no exception.
Right. And I think one of the most exciting things about Aftermath is the fact that they seem, or so often have seemed, like the team that can compete against Secret, right? Because individually, you look at MBL at times going the distance with the Viper. You add in Leary, who's gone 2nd place against the Viper in 1v1 tournaments, and now Hera. So multiple guys on this Aftermath roster have all played second fiddle to the Viper at some point. So then you have this kind of meeting of the minds, all of these guys who are, have been second all their life to the top dog, the Snake. They come together to try and take him down, but all of that requires them to be firing on all cylinders. They all still have to play at their top level, and maybe they're finding that form here, as they move through the semifinals and look to meet Secret tomorrow in our Sunday grand finals.
Well, they're looking for it, and they are surely hungry, right? I think everything than a win of the full tournament would be a disappointment for Aftermath. When it comes to like pure pound for pound 1v1 skill, AM is the best team in the world. Now it comes down to how good is their team synergy, how good are their strategies, how good is their drafting, and all that in the past did pull them down. But they realized that, they focused a lot on that, and well, I'm excited to see how they will continue to play against Suomi. That is kind of known exactly the opposite way around, right? Not the top 5 players in 1v1s, but incredible strategies.
A really good antithesis, actually. And of all of the matchups here in the semifinals, this one probably the most stylistically different between the two squads. The Max did make it to the finals in Hidden Cup against Viper, or Hidden Cup 2, if I recall correctly. But outside of that, you're right. The 1v1 tournament results don't necessarily exist for Suomi in the same way that they exist for Secret or Aftermath. And it is much more about the team play, those 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4 tournaments where we see this Suomi squad really come out and make statements and change the conversation around top-level AoE2 play.
Oh man, and it hurts me, but that we still can't jump into game number 2 at the moment, because I want to see some more action. I want to see what they bring in store to us, and now finally we get the second game. So maybe I just should have begged for it a bit earlier.
That's all it took. That's all it took is the complaint for the game to come through. I as well am excited to get into it, see what the Civ picks are, what the map itself will be. As you throw it over my way, I'm going to hit the download button and get this loaded up.
Interesting. Oh, now I know. What? That's weird. Oh, that doesn't really matter. Apparently I still owned the game. No idea why, no idea how. maybe they sent the wrong file earlier, and that's why I couldn't find the first game. Oh, stuff is weird. Stuff is weird. I'm waiting at the 10-second mark.
All right, give me 1 second.
The map, by the way, will be Grand Barra. An interesting
I'm ready
game.
Whenever.
Okay, then 8, 9, 10, go!
And we're in to game 2. AM versus Suomi. AM taking the first map, Arabia, the table setter for the rest of the series. And from here, it will be Suomi looking for the response and evening things up at 1-1.
That's indeed the dream, and they have been looking really hot on Grand Barra. But with other civilizations, normally they try to go for something fancy in the pocket position. We did see Cumans, we did see Goth from the Max. Now he goes for something that is normally pretty standard as a pocket civilization, but we have never seen it before on Grand Barra. It will be the Huns for the Max.
Huns of all things, exactly. Huns in the pocket position, flanked on one side by Velez with the Spanish, and then on the other side, Zupi again with the Malay. Hopping right on over to the other side of the map, let's get through Civs. Leary with the Chinese on one flank. We have Hera, or no, Nikov actually coming in this time around. Saw the green, thought Hera. Teutons for Nikov in the pocket positions, one of the new favorite pocket civs in the Teutons, and Hera on the flank on the other side, Byzantines in the teal.
Yeah, and you say one of the new favorite civilizations, but, well, we are still playing with a March patch in this one, so they don't get their melee armor, and therefore not that crazy, but it's nice to see a variation. Nikov in here, MBL benched on this one. More of a campy, boomy map, I would say.
Take a look at this on the left side of the map. Zupi was forward with his scout, but Leary does spot it and will chase him away. Was looking for a lame perhaps on that elephant as the villager comes out to lure it in.
Now we need to theory craft about civilizations. Most of the time, people go for Chinese on Arabia, and more of the time like May and Seer. So, well, Leary just picked arguably the two strongest civilization, which makes a lot of sense, and went for this combination. Interesting choice to me.
Yeah, very interesting. On this map, we've also seen a number of teams look for Saracens to counteract or counter some walling that generally happens here on the outsides on the flanks. So yeah, interesting civ picks on both sides of the matchup, and we'll have to see what the teams look to do in the early parts of Feudal, as we do see the villagers moving out to drop some houses, maybe the beginnings of some of those walls here for either team.
Yeah, seems very, very likely. Especially Suomi is super comfortable playing the super long games. Great synergy in Imperial Age, setting up the trade nice and early, great army composition. So they are fine if this game goes very, very long.
You know, the interesting side to me is going to be the Spanish side, I think. You know, typically when we look at team games and particularly 3v3s, you're looking at archer civs on either flank with a cavalry civ behind. But Spanish, most notably, don't do well with archers in the castle age without the Expo upgrade. And so, again, that transition, how will Velez navigate it? Is he going to look for just a straight, fast castle, which means they don't have the military strength in Feudal? Or is he going to try and look for, utilizing those faster builders in some kind of a tower forward or defense to what pressure might come forward from a Byzantine player?
Yeah, at the moment it seems like how early is warning that he just wants to be safe. Now struggles a bit with the lion here, saves the villager though. Scout can come over and clear that one up. I'm expecting a pure fast castle, going for some conquistadors, but Hera, I think he won't have the worst counter against that if he gets to Arbalest pretty quickly with Byzantines.
Right? Oh, that always an option is that fast imp out of the Byzantines to look for Arbalest and having that extra range. Very powerful strat as an option there, but it is one of those things when you look at Spanish, the power of the conquistador is always talked about, and how can you set them behind early? A lot of times the question is, or the strategy is either taking them off of stone to prevent that castle from going up immediately. Some kind of pressure needs to be created before those conquistadors start running rampant around the map and doing eco damage.
Yeah, the thing is, eco damage, if everyone is walled at the outside, you can only do the damage in the center. And if Hera is getting to a nice mass of crossbowmen to defend a one-dimensional move, then that could be, well, a nice defense for him. The thing is, conquistadors, the beauty is that they are so mobile as well. But if there's only one tiny opening where you can attack, then the mobility isn't really that important.
Talking about breaking through to the center being an important aspect of this game, I'm just taking a look at wood lines here. You've got the Max 2 trees away from the center. Zupi, notably not chopping the only tree that's between him and the center, so not microing his wood line effectively enough to be the first to break through. Hera as well could take a look at his wood line. Only one tree away. Always a curiosity which of the teams will be the first to control the center, and therefore which team will be forced to control the outer ring.
Yeah, let's see. If everyone is playing more into the fast castle direction, which it looks at least from the 4 players at the right-hand side, then everyone will be chopped out before they reach castle age. So then it's not that important. I think melee against the Chinese at the left-hand side, maybe then you could build some archers, but they seem just so walled. I think everyone will have kind of an easy task to get to the center.
Yeah, double palisade and houses on the right side. The wall just about completed for Leary on the left side. Zupi neglecting to throw his up, but with being the first to feudal, probably not too scared of any pressure heading his way. Malay dropping those farms as soon as he grabs those eco upgrades. In fact, he's going to finish that first farm before Horse Collar comes in. For all you low elo players out there, make sure those upgrades come in before you drop those farms.
Yeah. Farm being built in 15 seconds, farm upgrades takes 20 seconds, so you have to wait a bit, then start it, and then you could have jumped from 175 to 250. Nice spot there. Love that you have an eye for detail there.
Well, you know, when players play at this high a level, you got to find something to nitpick, right?
Yeah, they're not giving us a lot of chances, but one farm not having enough food is one of them.
Yeah, what's funny is in that situation, I would wait for the upgrade to come through before I put the farm down, but I'd have 4 idle villagers somewhere else on the map and, you know, could come out worse for it anyway.
Yeah, well, the same here. And, well, we see Leary going for some more walls as well. He will just play his fast castle. Barrack pretty late though, so archery range will have to wait quite a bit as well. Not the super smoothest transition. We see the early stable from Nikov in the center, and well, everything looks pretty standard for now.
Yeah, wow. In fact, pulling 3 villagers to rush that archery range down in interest of getting it built and getting the castle age. But like you said, first couple clicks already coming through. It looks like every player around the map is going to be heading for that fast castle. And at that point, we'll really start to see, what the strategies are going to be as they develop.
Yeah, and the big question is, where will Veliz build his castle as well? Sometimes we see people building it on the top. Sometimes you build it behind your wood line. You sometimes try to control the gold. Walling the top area kind of indicates that it's not going to be at the top.
All right, moving those villagers onto castle now. Or moving those villagers onto stone, rather, to build the castle now. As the Max is the first one to break through his wood line. So we now have access to the center for the side of Suomi. No movement just yet, as we're probably waiting for the castle to find a way to place TCs in an advantageous position.
Now the question is, he did even add a scout. I love that. The Max, he will have a lot of vision. Ooh. We'll get some updates also, like when are they chopping through, where can I build TCs. At the moment, only 3 on gold, so he won't go for a lot of knights. That will be instant 2 extra TCs by him.
And Nikov doing exactly the same. So great minds think alike as his scout makes his way across the center of the map to explore the wood lines of his opponents. That information is key in decision-making at high levels, knowing what is that first point of attack that we're going to, head towards. How can we make the most impact with the early military that we create as Castle Age comes through for both Nikov, the Max, and Hera? Will they go eco expansion or will they go military? TC drop for Nikov right away.
Yeah, double TC from the Max as well, and with all their vision, I think it shouldn't be a tough task for Veliz to send his villagers down, and indeed, now he will build his castle towards the bottom. Now the question is it kind of on the ramp, or does he go to protect the real gold spot?
Yeah, 4 villagers moving out. Looks like he is camping around that gold with his scout. There's the castle placement there, straight out in the center. Now, an interesting distinction here. 3 TCs dropped on the upper level for the Max, whereas Nikov brings one of his TCs down to the center, so trying to establish a little bit of presence in the middle himself without having castle placement from one of his allies.
Yeah, that's truly interesting, because you're forced TC. What are you doing? Are you trying to buy the 100 stone? Are you going onto stone? It's not that easy, but also you have to remember he has to feel pretty safe with, well, the castle already put in the center as well.
Right, that Spanish castle just about to go up. That means conks will be on the map soon enough. And then it's about which wood line are we looking to harass. I did just take a peek over at Leary's base, and 5 crossbows are making their way into the center. So we talk about the power of those conquistadors, but it's the archers. It's the expos that can be out on the map faster because they can be built in feudal age and upgraded as soon as you hit castle.
Indeed, and that's what Leary and Zupi both opted for. Zupi did go for an interesting eco approach. Did go pop 25 there without loom. Did get all the eco upgrades and a reasonable castle age behind this. Should be floating quite a lot of resources and looking at reasonable crossbow numbers.
Yep, we got fletching coming through for Zupi now, so a little bit behind on some of those upgrades, but he'll make sure he gets those in before he takes any necessary fights. No expansion on the eco just yet for the flank player on the left side, whereas Leary has dropped an extra TC and a third one now in the center. So quicker expansion here for Leary as the expos move forward for Zupi. He'll get that information in just a moment.
Yeah, not unlikely that we will see a 1 TC play from Zupi now for a change, who's trying to micro against Leary here. Has Botkin against only fletching, should easily win this one. Leary with a beautiful micro, and that is what we were talking about.
And known for his micro, finds a small advantage there, and the engagement comes back through. Okay, Zupi with the response as they just trade blows back and forth. Actually, notably, Leary is down Bodkin arrow at the moment. So even with a range and damage disadvantage, was able to find a trade. But Zupi striking back. Notice this, Max, multiple knights into the back of Hera's base. I'm not sure Hera's aware of this, but the walls are already up, so he won't take any harassment from this sneak.
Oh, well, that is Nikov with nice walls behind him there.
Oh, my bad.
Conquistadors at the front as well, so he's in a bit of trouble. And yeah, that is a nice reaction, surely. How did they get in there?
They got in actually through Hera's base. They sniped Deville while Hera was trying to build his university there because he doesn't have the center walled up, and then they took the long route around the backside of the base. They are low health knights, but could still do some damage if they find an unsuspecting villager, let's say, on that gold there from Leary that feels exposed.
Oh yeah, I can see that easily happening. And well, that's just really annoying how two randomly sneaked knights there can find so much damage. I really want to know about Zuppi's play though. Is he adding more TCs? Yes, he did, so that won't be the 1 TC all-in from him.
All right, dropping the extra eco buildings. This one does look like it's positioned to go late, as neither team has made, surprisingly aggressive moves. Dropping those TCs, looking eco first before the military comes out onto the field. Those knights, though, those knights and that scout from the max, getting a lot of scouting information in. Even if they aren't dealing damage, that's a lot of info gained.
And like everyone forced to be aware. Sometimes they're sneaking. Did he maybe build a stable? What happened there? But yeah, probably the communication forced as well. Now the big question is, how many castles will we see from Belize? He has another 590 stone. How wild do you go now?
That's a good question. We had an even engagement that just took place in the middle of the map just now. Expo numbers were traded about evenly, so no team worse for the wear, but they did have a little bit of a scrap. Second castle placement. What are you thinking here, Nearly? What's the most? How does either team establish control from what feels like a fairly stalemate position?
It just feels like if you have Spanish, your late game looks so good with the better trade as well. You can go Conquistadors, you have the Max Paladin Pocket. That's a lot of Suomi dreams coming through there. I think a defensive castle just in front of the Max TC feels like the safe approach.
Yeah, we saw the late game strength.
Oh, Lyris Woodline, sorry for interrupting you. Oh,
no, you're good.
And, well, it's only one kill. Did he only get one single kill?
Only one single kill as he's look at this disgusting micro with the villagers of all things as he gets his crossbows into position with Nikov bringing knights into support. They're going to clean up this forward from Zupi. So yes, he takes a little bit of harassment, but at the end of the day, they're going to trade one villager kill for military advantage.
If I'm the guy being blue here, I lose 8 villagers, have everything idle, and screaming to my team for help. And Leary, he's just like, okay, I will dance with some villagers and I will clear it up.
It's disgusting. Utterly disgusting, but while all that's happening, Veles will take the time to bring those mobile conks into the back of Nikov's Zico. Look at this harassment down onto those farms, onto the wood line, forcing a little bit of idle, and just keeping himself moving and mobile around the map.
Yeah, and we did see the aggression from Belize and Zuppi behind this. Oh, you see all the Conquistadors die, though. That's not going to be pretty, but behind this still, well, a lot of knights forced by Nikov. Maybe not forced, but he at least did build them. And the Max, he went full boom. And, well, it's now a solid 20 villagers ahead of Nikov.
Yeah, I'll eat my words there. It was a nice bit of harassment, but I'm not sure it's worth losing about 10 conquistadors and all of your military presence. Both flanks for the side of Suomi suffering big military losses. Can the Max, with his knight numbers, can he hold off any advancing aggression from AM looking to extend their advantage?
Well, I think he will clean up the first knight group of Nikov quite easily here. The big story behind this is, though, that Hera is on the way to Imperial Age, and there is no good answer against Arbalest.
Absolutely not. The Byzantine easy imp, the cheaper imp, doing wonders for him here as he's 20% up to the next age. Army's finding positioning around the left side of the map here. Leary looking for something to harass with the support from Nikov's Teutonic Knights. Not finding too much. Both teams playing this one far more cautious than the previous, more open Arabia, which I think is to be expected. The Max bringing out those output posts, looking to establish vision across the center of the map. I love the way top-level teams do this. Once they hit that mid-game, they look to establish a line of vision, making sure they're not going to be taken by surprise anymore with big army movements or hits onto those ecos.
Yeah, and that's actually something really funny when it comes to Ethiopians. their team bonus is extra line of sight on outpost, and when that was introduced, everyone was laughing and like, why don't they get a real bonus? What is this? And now all of a sudden, teams actually start to think about this, because outposts, all the vision, all the knowledge, all the information becomes really valuable in those high-level games.
All right, we're looking for an engagement here in the middle of the map. We've got Zupi with a Mangonel looking to engage onto those crossbows. The Knights from Nikov will collapse, but that leaves the blue crossbows open to the yellow Knights of Max, and the Conquistadors are coming in through the back. Not enough military numbers for AM as Suomi makes the move. This is a tough one to call, but those Conks are doing absolute work with their mobility, being able to chase down these Knights from Nikov and forcing them back.
Oh yeah, just beautiful. Having all the upgrades really helps. It's important to clear up Hera's last 6 crossbowmen as well, because those will be Arbalest pretty soon as well. They're trying their very best, chasing it down, going in deep. Oh, look at that. Leary even walling his base and building a defensive castle.
Yeah, a little bit of panic mode here as they were caught out of position forward while one of their players was making the way to Imp. So again, you got to recognize the resources spent to make that transition to the next stage, and therefore the lack of military numbers. The castle will go up in time to defend this very crucial spot of land, though, for the AM squad.
Absolutely. The max still reasonable knight numbers is on the way to Imperial Age. Something we can't say for Nikov. What is happening here? Nikov, he has so many resources. Is he missing buildings or something? Yes, now he's rushing out the university with 5 villages. He could have been up like 2 minutes ago.
Oh my goodness. Forgetting the building while dealing with the micro of the fight in the middle. It's going to be something that AM is going to have to cover for. With that advantage that Hera has in being Imp first, we see a ball of Arbalest here on the right side, trying to advance onto Velez, but with that castle placement, not going to be able to push too far forward.
Love that castle placement for sure. And Terra, well, at the moment, he without any siege can't really contribute too much. Needs to come over and try to defend his teammates. The question is now, how deep are the Suomi players diving in here? Are they waiting for the upgrades? 65% Imperial Age for Zupi. He clearly wants to upgrade those, but I think AM won't allow him.
Yeah, we have the Arbalest from Hera finding an engagement in the middle of the map. It's 1v3 in terms of armies, but he's going to go ahead and micro those Arbalests to get rid of as many of the numbers as he can. Nikov lending help with those Knights, but the Knights from the Max finding their way into the fight, retreating right now, trying to buy time for that plate barding and the Cavalier upgrade to come through. It was Hera first to Imp, but it was the Max second, and the pocket player hitting Imp before the opposing pocket player means the Cav advantage could be big.
Hera even behind this 100 villagers, something we don't see too often from a Byzantine player. Most of the time they go for the low eco, and he will play mass Arbalest. That's something very interesting. If we think about Malay, they can really deliver. Chinese might go mass Arbalest. This could be our very typical Arabia composition, just mass Arbalest and Paladins here from AM.
Yeah, with 2 more players left to hit Imperial Age, just hitting now, Velez. And then Nikov, of all people, will be the last of the players to hit Imp. But moving into Imp and post-Imp phases, I think it's only natural that we re-hit the civilizations and talk about those post-Imp compositions and what will be the most crucial parts of the map for each team to hold.
The most crucial
As we
parts,
see Leary.
Well,
Leary's moving forward right now to drop a castle, controlling more gold.
Yeah, obviously so much gold in the center of the map, so trade isn't that important for the very long run, as long as both teams stabilize. And as you can see, well, the Finns already realizing trading isn't that bad, especially with the Spanish trade bonus. Velez already dropping some of his markets at the corner.
Oh, this is dangerous. That's the second castle that he has deleted to reposition here. They recognize the importance of extending their position forward on the map, but Suomi recognizes the same thing and says, we're not going to give you that opportunity. We've got the military advantage with those Paladins already. Paladin in for the Max against Knights to Nikov.
Oh, Cavaliers will come pretty soon as well. Elite Conquistadors will finish in this fight as well. The Max is diving in deep. This looks really good here. I think the castle might even be denied. Doubt is smiling at home for sure. Knights even waiting for the Cavalier upgrade, but they're taking so much damage before they get all the upgrades.
This is the fight. This is the fight. Suomi found their in. They've pulled the trigger. We've got the Trebs forward looking to do damage. The Paladins are pushing through against the Cavalier with great numbers of elite Conquistadors and Arbalists. Fully upgraded Arbalists behind for Zupi. Can they get the damage done? Can they push the production buildings back? Can they blow a hole open in the defensive line of AM? We see the Paladins retreating a little bit. It might be that AM is holding on.
Oh, instantly Paladin clicked for Nikov behind us, so his eco isn't bad. Lots of numbers lost there in the front lines. Elite Conquistador is still doing a lot of damage from behind. I think maybe something like Onagers could be great if I look at that amount of Arbalists on both sides.
Yeah, looking for something to be the final piece to break through here. As the Trebs, they do reposition forward, looking to put pressure on that next castle for the Chinese player in Leary. Those Paladins doing work as a front line, but a big ball of Arbalists for Hera, a big ball of Arbalists for Leary. Will it be enough to hold the defense? I see those Cav numbers dwindling for Nikov. It looks like the pocket player is struggling with the production on the side of AM.
Well, now he is getting raided at his main gold spot there, and where is he getting gold? He's not really getting gold anywhere in the center. It's like very inefficient mining camp at the right-hand side. That's not enough to keep up with the max.
Yeah, he's sharing with Hera. Sharing is caring, but it might not be enough to put up the defense. We see that hole break through. The castle goes down. This is giving permission to Suomi to move forward. There it is. The forward castle placement. The resign now castle out of the max. Looking for forward position and removing every single one of those gold options from AM.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? The only thing I want to see now from the max is that he sends some Paladins around to maybe get some good raids in, but I'm also fine if they just continue pushing through the center with all those traps, all those Arbalists to finish the game and even out the series.
GG, AM throws in the towel. An impressive push up the gut there from Suomi. A great recognition of military advantage, or tech advantages in the military, and saying this is our time to pressure with that pocket player having such an advantage in getting to Imperial Age first, having the Trebs to back up that push, needing the siege to kill the production buildings, and they find the win. They find the win, even it up on the home map. The pick from Suomi. We have ourselves a series.
Absolutely. And this is, again, Suomi brilliantly putting the max into the position, right? You saw Zupi with the very creative opening there. Mass crossmen, early botkin. Then we saw mass conquistadors from Belize on the other side. And both flanks, Hera and Leary, kind of saying, okay, this could be a very aggressive game. Nikov, you have to go for a lot of knights. Behind this, the max, heavy boom approach. He gets the Paladins earlier, and they find the perfect timing.
Right, Nikov over-indexing into military in order to support Hera going for that earlier imp. And then there was that crucial fight on Suomi's side of the map. Right as Hera's hitting imp, they lose crucial army numbers to a 3v2 essentially from the side of Suomi. That's really what gave, the snowball, that the beginning of the snowballs for Suomi, as all of them cascaded into imp and could push that left side. Masterfully played out of Suomi here to strike back and push us to 1-1, and the developing conversation around civ picks and even roster picks, because let's remember, Nikov came in to play pocket for this one, moving Hera out to the flank and MBL to the bench. And
MBL, the only undefeated player in the series so far. The max with most kills in the game here, delivered quite heavily. Zupi actually quite there with melee as well, something we don't see too often. 76 highest military for him. Economy looked very dominant for the max as well.
Look at that food collected. 2,300 alongside 15k gold of all things, more than 5k above the next in the game.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, he had so much control, and that's also something that he could freely go for because Belize did build that beautiful second castle that just secured them this perfect control of the map.
Yeah, amazing control, amazing map awareness out of Suomi, understanding where the different pressure points would be, both for themselves and the opponents. Again, one of the biggest separations between, a good player and a great player is not only recognizing what I need to do, but what my opponent needs to do to come away with a victory, and playing for both scenarios.
Oh, and this already shapes up to be a great, great series. And, well, I will take a small pee break, and we will be back in 2 minutes.
Sounds good. I will do the same, but I'm excited to get into game 3.
So am I. And I'm back. Yeah, if Mem already started, that's good for him. Then you can watch over at Mem's stream. We are forced to always start behind him. Or at least not before him. This isn't a song, it's just someone recording the game sounds when they played Wolf Hill. A bit like it, yeah. Yeah. Dash would be a great addition for NAC4. I don't know what NAC4 is, but sounds like anything he has included could be a great addition, yeah. Yeah, I really, really enjoy him. Like talking to him, listening to him, it's just really, really nice for me. Hope you all having a great, great day and enjoying this beautiful semi-final. As you all know, Secret already in the finals. Tomorrow, best of 9 coming our way. I will cast everything. We'll have a lot of like muted parts as well when we talk about strategy. And we will try to find out who Secret is playing. Is it Aftermath or Suomi? At the moment, scores 1-1. One home map of Suomi gone though. Aftermath still Colosseum until it's slow. Okay, so then we have the next home map or the first home map of Aftermath. Colosseum and Desert Slopes are their options. I will do some axing here of the civilizations that we already took.
Yeah, the civ choices were interesting in that previous game. You had the first pick out of AM with Chinese, followed by some of their later picks in Byzantines and Teutons against kind of first tier and second tier picks out of Suomi. So it feels like from a draft perspective, Suomi has used more of their higher priority picks already through 2 games than AM has.
Yeah, I think so as well. And especially if we think about like Colosseum is still left there. I see like so many deadly civilizations. They're Magyars, Mongols. That sounds very scary. I'm interested to see what Aftermath has planned with Koreans as well.
Koreans, very interesting, Civ. We know that they have a lot of power in the late game if they can get there, but that's always the issue, right? Is what are your options in the earlier stages of the game, particularly in a team game of all things, where you have a tougher time utilizing advantages like those free tower upgrades. Still possible, but tougher to execute in a high-level team game.
And I actually did something really dumb. I was watching at our chat the full time, and I only saw game 1 and 2 posted there. And I was like, when is game 3 coming? And then I realized, I need to look in the other channel. So we can load that up now.
All right, let me get in there.
Yeah, Koreans for MBL. That would be funny as well. And the question is, where do you even go for them? Desert Slope could be an option. I'm still excited for African Waters. We will see all of those 5 maps. That's guaranteed now.
Yes, that's super exciting. When you see a series go 1-1 like this, and you know you're promised more games, it's just instantly more exciting to see it develop. I'm at that 10-second mark. You let me know when you're ready.
Okay, then we will say 8, 9, 10. Here we go.
All right. And we're into it. Game 3 between AM and Suomi. Score stands 1-1 at the moment, with Suomi picking up the last one to bring us to even in the series. Who will take the next big blow to move to 2-1 and take control?
Well, we are trying to find out, and we also already see a lot of investment into sending scouts out quite nice and early here. Leary, very aggressive there at the side, but won't go for the lame left-hand side. It's annoying as well, but we will give you an update if there ever is a successful boar steal. For now, nothing happening. We have the max in the pocket position here with Slavs. Incredible farming by them. That could be really nice for massive amount of knights. And Hera is now going for the lane away from Zupi.
Yep, holding on to the same team positions that they've had through the first 2 games with the max in the pocket, flanked by both Zupi and Velez. Portuguese picked up here on one side for Suomi, which means they will have from Dark Age that shared vision, big in terms of grouping up, finding early advantages in feudal age once you have military out on the map, and it will be Incas on the other side for Velez. But if we flip on over to the AM side, we notice that MBL is back in the lineup. I think that's an important distinction to call out as Hera moves back into that pocket position playing the Magyars. You called out that Civ as having incredible strength just before we loaded into this game.
Oh yeah, and there's so much happening already. I don't even know where I need to look. We need a professional cameraman next time. There's just so much laming going on. Right-hand side seems like Zupi even is investing into Loom here to take the villager over to the field. And he will lame at least one Rhino back.
Yep, gets the Rhino back. Also notable that the scout health on the side of AM is at a disadvantage. Both Leary and Hera now sitting at half health on their scouts. So those early feudal engagements or any time that the scouts run into each other from opposing teams, that could be a difference maker.
Okay, so let's just think about the wild things here. Incas on Colosseum. We did see room stock earlier there, but still Velez, who is a guy who normally plays very standard, very meta, very safe, he is going for this civilization. Do we see something crazy, or is this still just archers from him?
It's a curiosity. I feel like in so many cases, you go for a play like that, an aggressive play like that, when you don't feel you can win straight up. But Suomi is perfectly capable of winning straight up against AM. And so it would be a real gamble to go for such an aggressive play, which could outright win you the game, but could also set you, behind in an unrecoverable position.
Yeah, it's exactly that, right? Risk versus reward, and MBL is such a good guy at defending those aggressions. We did see the Arabia game. Oh, by the way, the scout lost in the TC here.
That's big. That's big.
MBL, he killed 2 sheep, but those were 2 of his sheep earlier on. It's still, not a lot of food under the TC for MBL here. Not really pushing his zebras either now. That's not the sweetest opening. He even opens with militia now.
No, I think that actually comes out as an advantage for Velez, because there you have Velez. He just spotted that barracks. So, with proper scouting, he'll be aware of any militia coming forward. I say that, though. The first militia came out of the barracks. Will he pick it up?
Seems like very good scouting here. Nice awareness indeed. Tries to see, okay, where could you go? Where do I need to scout? Nice awareness there. Leary, by the way, already up here. Plays pop 19. And that's something we saw earlier today from Tedo. And he was able to put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, Mongol bonus means early uptime. Moving forward to drop that barracks right now. So we will see some early aggression out of the flank player on the right side for AM. Open map. We know how difficult it is to wall this map up entirely. You see the wood lines already being walled up for Velez there on one side, but players generally take one of 2 approaches. It's either independently wall in the wood line or attempt a long wall from those outside wood lines to the TC. It looks like, though, without those big team walls coming up, each player will be largely fending for themselves when it comes to their back wood lines.
Yeah, well, there are different approaches. Sometimes, getting the team wall is ideal in the long run. It's a lot of early investment, though. So, well, we have seen different approaches, as you said. I can't really say who has the best approach there. And look at MBL. He's building, let's call it an interesting mill there. I think it should be part of the wall later on.
Yeah, the mill on the stone, almost like where a mining camp should be, but will become a part of the wall. So AM taking the more team-focused approach, and MBL's afforded that opportunity because of the Drush, right? He's pulled all of the attention and focus away from his own base with just these 3 militia, and with that time, using it to throw up those early palisade walls, building towards the TC to funnel any aggression towards a single focus point.
Indeed, that's the plan. They will have so much vision, and then you don't need to wall your back wood lines. Meanwhile, by the way, Leary opened with 1 archer range and instantly the blacksmith behind this. So not a lot of archers, but strong archers coming from him.
Yeah, 19 pop feudal archers with fletching already on its way. So again, when we talk about those wood lines, yes, the individual palisade walls are coming up there for Zupi, but that's not going to protect you against fletching archers unless you have a tower.
Well, yeah, that's going to be really... And the archery range is completely at the other side as well. His berries will be exposed, and this will be very problematic for Zup. He tries to get a house up here, but thinks better of it. That's not going to work. I think he will suffer with some wood income, and at the moment, that's his complete food income. Those foreign berries.
One archer, one spear, one scout, and he's harassing the berries already for the side of Zupi. More archers moving in. This is going to be an incredible amount of pressure. We'll have to see what Suomi's response is. Does the team need to come over to help?
Well, MBL is coming to help even. His militia made it through the whole map, and he's now knocking at the gold there, and is even distracting the Max who wanted to come help.
The Vil goes down! He gets the Vil pick with 2 archers as that scout engagement against the Drush in the back. Yes, the Drush will get cleared, but that's a lot of scout health that's lost.
Indeed, and now the villagers, they want to run away from gold here, is opening that, but they are going at the wrong side as well. This is going to be so ugly, and archer numbers won't be high. That one spearman of Leary is so efficient.
2 Vils down, looking for a 3rd Vil here in Feudal Age. 3 Vils down, onto a 4th now. Will they find it? Yes, 4 Vils down. This is incredible eco damage for the side of AM. I mean, from here, what a hole to have to dig out of for the side of Suomi. What are their options?
No food income, no gold income. He has only wood at the moment. He needs to start farming. He won't get the proper upgrades, I believe. Let's take a look. He doesn't have fletching. Indeed, sitting at 45 gold. This is horrible. The options, like, they need to have some miracle counterattacks now. They need to take major risks.
I mean, the fact that he's got archer numbers while controlling his opponent's gold is just phenomenal play. Phenomenal awareness out of AM. Hera keeping those very potent Magyar scouts around, looking for Vil picks, and just making sure that Leary's archers have permission to go wherever they want to go to harass. Well, as we get a moment to breathe, Nili, I'm going to take a look at the left side of the map here. We do have archers moving forward from Velez. While all that action on the right side was happening, we see 5 scouts linking up with 8 archers, have fletching as well. This could be some damage heading towards MBL.
But Hera did spot it. MBL is sending his archers over, and that's the counterattack that I said they needed. Look at that, MBL. Well, he won't have the numbers. Zupi is sitting at only 24 villagers. They need to find some kills, and they need to find them quick.
AM's looking for a response to the invade onto Hera's base, but on the other side of the map, we have blue archers making their way over to the Max, who's dropping a defensive tower onto that stone. So good awareness from him to know that that pressure was going to move from Zupi over to him, finds a good defensive position. Both teams kind of locked in a stalemate right now. I love this forward move, though, by Suomi to take the attention away from their own bases. Say, hey, we may have just taken damage, but we need to get the focus to be elsewhere.
Yeah, and Felici should know he has more archer numbers than MBL because he went up to Feudal Age so much later. He did rush before that one, so I like the attack. It just feels like maybe the max numbers aren't high enough because he was forced onto stone. Just think about it. 5 villagers on stone, defensive towers forced as well. That's something you don't want to do.
Yeah, it's 5 scouts forward for the Max. It's 9 scouts for Hera, and Hera's got the upgrade advantage with that free forging on his scouts. So we see the Max and Velez, they intelligently retreat away from Hera's base. They're pulling a little bit of the classic secret strat. Once we've gone forward, we're going to run you around, but in the back of your base. By that time, while we build up our military numbers for a second wave, and make sure that we're dictating where the next fight gets taken.
Yeah, but the problem is, this time, we are also taking a lot of damage at home, because Leary, he did take a beautiful fight against Zupi at his home base, and now they are cornered, now they're getting surrounded. AM is going for the kill here.
It's nice if you can dictate the next fight, but when this fight's dictated to you, and your army numbers go poof, then you don't have too many options. We see the Max says goodbye to Velez's archers, says you're fending for yourself as I'm going to run my scouts away and try to wreak more havoc in the back of the AM base.
Well, yeah, some more scouts around as well. As you can see, Zupi at the moment, he even has a weird macro. I think he misgrouped something. He's producing 6 archers out of 1 archer range. The other archer range completely idle.
Oh my lord. Yeah, that's the misclick on the control grouping or something there. But even minor mistakes like that, they can they can make a game fall one way or the other. MBL, interesting archer placement as he groups up his two groups of archers here in just the dead center of the map. Where do you suppose he's looking to do damage next?
It is tricky. At the moment, we have the Max clearing up, getting cleared up in the back there by Hera. I think MBL can just basically go everywhere, right? They know they cleared up all the armies. They know they have all the map control. They know their opponents aren't walled. It's just important that he is aware that a double or triple isn't unlikely.
Yeah. Moving forward to get some vision, see what the pocket player's up to. But once he sees that the archers are in position for Velez, he'll probably retreat. Nilly, I got to call out. You said it in game 1 of the series. Leary, first to castle again from that early uptime in the feudal, pumping out the archers, doing huge offensive damage, and he's still first to castle every time.
I don't understand it either. This is like the record games that I need to rewatch afterwards to really understand it. Because if I play Pop 19, my ego is so in shambles. If I try to go for fletching and the wood upgrade, I'm never up before minute 26.
I know. It's just wildly impressive play. You can see he's brought his archers home, knowing he's going to hit castle here. As soon as castle ticks over, the army moves out. The army moves out as the upgrades come in. Leary's looking to do more damage.
Indeed, and well, we see Hera's trying to do some damage against the Max there, but under the tower that's not really going to work. And they're pulling all the armies to the left-hand side. That gives Leary time to just finish off Zupi here.
Yeah, you know what? I was about to question that engagement until you said exactly that. They're buying time for Leary. It didn't look like a good engagement for AM, and by the traded numbers of military numbers, it wasn't a good engagement. But they're still getting Vil picks, and they're distracting. 2 out of the 3 big armies for Suomi, and guess what? Leary's now got damage onto the Max's gold.
But why is he going for that gold? It's the more aggressive gold, the one that he isn't towering yet. He has the defensive gold. That's a weird choice by the Max here.
A very, very strange play from the Max as Leary will work his way around the base. We do have that outpost play, so the Max can see it. Using that tower defensively, will Leary find his way to the wood lines? I think that's the big question.
For now, he's just dancing, trying to idle some villagers there. Maybe he wants to now think and try to catch Zupi off guard. Well, Leary, just staying very patiently at the moment.
Yeah, checking in with the villager counts across the map. Zupi, you can see, trailing the rest of the pack at 33 vills. Where's he losing vills right now? At the front of his base, he lost 2 farmers.
Yeah, and like he's not even punishing those crossmen. Leary very aggressively sits under the TC here, but even got a third villager.
Leary won't let up. This man this is crazy. This is just absolutely crazy, the aggression that he's displaying right now.
And Zupi has like 9 villagers on stone at the moment. Is he trying to build an aggressive castle, or does he just try to completely tower the map and somehow survive?
I mean, we see 3 towers already up in defense. It's a good question. You'd think, possibly for Portuguese getting a castle up on the front of the base there, maybe establishing a little control over that forward gold of his for when his back gold runs out. It's a tough spot, though. So far behind in eco. Just now getting Bodkin, but don't even have the crossbow upgrade clicked at this point. In the 1v1 that's isolated here on the right side, Leary is just displaying utter perfection in play.
But how do you click the crossbow upgrade if you have only 2 farmers at times, and then you send them back, they will get sniped again? It's simply not looking pretty. Meanwhile, MBL and Terra, they didn't take their foot off the gas at the left-hand side.
Yeah, Zupi just lost more vills on the wood line. Under 30 vills now in Castle Age. His vill count is going the wrong direction. You want it to go up, it's going down instead. But again, Hera and MBL as well, they're keeping such good presence on the left side of the map. It's preventing the Max or Velez from lending any aid to Zupi.
And again, the same story as on Arabia, right? They are in the center of the armies. They can dictate, do we attack left-hand side, do we attack right-hand side? And they always take the better engagements, as it seems.
Oh my God, Nilly, look at the Max's forward gold again. He dropped a town center there, didn't complete it. The Knights are on the gold. He hasn't realized. There he does, just now. Moves the Vills into the towers, but that TC has been stopped from going up, and he lost multiple Vills in the process. Everything's falling apart for Suomi.
Oh boy, and yeah, there's like 3 different fights going on at the same time, and not a single one I can show you is very good for Suomi. Yeah, they get the most reasonable thing here against MBL, but they idled so much eco during that time.
More fights in the back of the base. We have been fixated and isolated on Suomi's half of the map for the last 15 minutes of this game. That's how much pressure is being applied by the AM squad.
Oh man, okay, finally Zupi is getting some reasonable fights here against Leary, but not enough. They have to tap this one out, and Colosseum, I think every team in the world has to be scared of AM. With that lineup, with that squad, they are so deadly on this map.
That was just disgusting. From Feudal onward, Leary, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the support that was lent by his teammates. Quite obviously, they enabled him to do what he did, but that early Feudal time, utilizing the Mongols' advantage in the best possible way and having the perfect eco balance to go one range, one blacksmith, straight into archers with fletching, bringing a single spear forward to nullify any scouts coming from the max. It was just such great forward thinking and enough eco damage to just steamroll the rest of the map.
And honestly, how do you even defend that if you're Portuguese? Like, the archer range may be in front of the berries and then open with skirmishers, which are really bad if both players are sending their scouts there. I think Mongols are a great pick. A lot of people know that they're a great pick, but they could be maybe even the best pick on this map.
Without a doubt, when you have this openness, because you know what's interesting is that this isn't even the closest of maps in the map pool for this tournament, right? You've got a couple other maps where your starting positions are even closer, but in this case, it's that openness, it's the difficulty of being able to wall up effectively that really allowed the Mongol player to shine with their aggression.
What are you doing? Do you douche against this? Do you wall in the gold spots? Do you drush? It's just so incredibly tricky. You basically, if you play against Mongols, you kind of can ask for help instantly.
Yeah, I'm really at a loss. I'm at a loss. The best thing I can think of, is just dropping in. It doesn't sound good because we always talk about how risky it is to place a defensive tower before actually receiving any pressure. But I almost feel like the response needed to be, matching with as fast a Feudal you can. I know you're not going to beat the Mongol player to Feudal, but matching as fast as you can, dropping a tower, and asking for your scout, your pocket scout player to support you as quickly as possible.
But what if the other pocket then just goes and doubles Vilis? Then they're dying there. It's just so powerful, so tricky. Defensive tower, as you said, an interesting thing. And well, hopefully tomorrow in the finals, we will see Secret playing Colosseum again. And I want to say how Mongols are going to be played out then. Let's take a look at the statistics.
Let's do it. As we take a look at the statistics here, obviously Leary is going to be a focal point when it comes to units killed. Velez as well, matching him at 39, but it's the 21 units lost that makes the KD so much more impressive for Leary.
Yeah, but he's fighting kind of toe-to-toe to MBL there when it comes to the crossbow kills and try to go, for the great engagements, the max, some unfortunate losses. He had the best food eco behind this. But, if we look at the gold, it really wasn't looking great for him. 1k gold only in a 28-minute game as the pocket.
8-minute and 51-second feudal time, followed by a 21-minute castle time. There's only a handful of players in the world capable of doing that, and there's one player who's better at it than anyone else, and that's Leary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so crazy. Zupi was capped at 35 villagers in this game. The start was so rough for him. And, then it's really tricky. His map was so open. As you said, dropping the defensive tower is an option, but then he runs to the other area. Leary completely surrounding the TC. A game to shake off for Zupi.
You know, I actually want to call it, yeah, definitely that. 100% agreed there. But I do want to call out one other really, really impressive thing from AM, and that was the drush from MBL. Let's not forget that drush hit Velez, rotated to the max, and actually made its way all the way around to Zupi's side of the map, in part enabling Leary to be so aggressive with those early archers. So again, just showing how each of these different individual plays ultimately connect to allow a top tier team like this to execute on their given strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just like the aggressiveness of MBL as well, right? Most people would see like Drush, okay, he walled off, let's do minimal damage and just hit those walls. But in team games, MBL did just stop by it the max, so okay, he has a bulletproof defense, let's find the next engagement. Then, okay, gold was walled as well from Zupi, let's go and attack the scouts. And yeah, as you said, that enabled Leary to be in such a good spot. But also, my chat pointed out, a lot of heavy civilizations thrown in there from AM. They're pick number 2 and 4. Now, if we look at the overall standings, I think the leftover civs look pretty even.
Right, that's a really good point. How the civ picks play into all of this, and AM really did throw a lot of power behind that map there. Japanese being the only remaining civ in the top tier for them, whereas for Suomi, still with their first pick of Persians and the all-powerful meso civ of the Aztecs.
Yeah, so leftover maps are Desert Slope from Suomi and African Waters from Desert Slopes from Aftermath and African Waters from Suomi. Likely civilizations that we could see is like Persians, Goth, maybe Bulgarians, something like that, on African Waters. And then Desert Slopes, Italians, Lithuanian Aztecs.
Okay. Goths is such an interesting remaining civ because we've seen a number of people play that on Granbera previously, but that map has already been played here. So the Goth pick, yeah, will be interesting to see where that comes out. Of course, we can't forget, like you said, with African Waters, the importance of having a water civ or two, but that's where you see the Japanese on one side for AM. And of course, you see Italians and Persians always happy to go on water as well for the side of Suomi. So both teams, I think, intelligently leaving themselves up, powerful civ options for the remaining maps. But the interaction of those civs is what will be interesting. How will they utilize each of the team bonuses and individual bonuses of each of their remaining civs?
And I also feel Desert Slope is a map that hasn't really been fully explored yet, and it completely plays differently depending on the civilizations. If you give me Arabia, and there are like an sheer endless amount of civilization combinations where you still see, okay, it's scouts into knights, archers into crossbow, but on Desert Slope, like, yeah, we know that Celts, what Celts will kind of do, but the rest is completely open.
Yeah, that's one of the maps that feels the least figured out as well. I know Secret's still very much in the tournament, so don't want you to give away too much of the secret knowledge. But
I can say I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, but I think it's fair to say, based on the evidence I've seen in previous matchups, that is the least figured out of the maps, where it seems, I had an issue. Oh, no, that was my bad. Okay, I was loading up the map incorrectly. But yeah, that's one of the maps that it feels, for every intelligent, reason you might bring in a civ into that matchup, you're then forfeiting something else. So it feels like it's a very conscious decision when you pick, we're going to index into that water control early, but therefore one of our flanks is going to be exposed, or, who is going to go for the water control? Do we have a flank go for it, or do we have the pocket player play for it?
Well, let's go and find out for African Waters as our next map. Are you ready?
I will be in. I'm loading in just now.
Okay.
And
it's going to be a wild one, and the wildest player on the planet will be here and will be ready to entertain us in 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go. Jumping into the action here.
Boom. Game 4 between AM and Suomi. AM now with the advantage in the series 2-1. You already hinted at it. We do have a substitution, a notable substitution for Suomi. Ruben Stock is in. We've got a very aggressive setup here with all the TC's starting positions being just a screen away from each other. Ruben Stock always promises to have a very exciting, early, aggressive strategy planned for us.
Yes, indeed. But this time, actually, it's another player throwing the curveball at us. Velise, 150 more food for the Lithuanians. Instantly dropping the barracks here at the left-hand side. Remember, you don't need to build houses, so you can drop the barracks, and that's going to be super fast militia from him.
Oh my goodness, getting that extra food out onto the map early, taking advantage of the resources that you start with so early on. We see the Goths on the opposite side for Ruben Stock on the flank there. The Max in his oh-so-comfortable pocket position with the Persians, an all-time favorite of pocket players. On the flip side, Leary with the Japanese in flank position. Hera behind him with the Berbers in the pocket. And then, of course, MBL on the opposite flank with the Celts. So really, as you already pointed out, Nilly, it's about the response to the early drush. 3 militia already out onto the field. We're 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and pressure is coming forward.
Oh man, pretty wild here for sure. I'm at 250 exactly now, and well, that's not going to be too pretty. Look at how Leary walled this one off. Needs to open a bit more to drop even at the lumber camp. But nice reaction for now. Not going to be too pretty for him. But, well, you can just go to the next player. And that's indeed what Velise is doing now.
Yeah, Leary was caught playing a bit of a puzzle game there with the walls, trying to figure out how to not trap his own vills in. And we already see the walls going up for Hera on his wood line. So good response out of AM. But already the amount of action that is being forced out of the AM squad just to stem any bleeding that might be caused from these 3 Dark Age militia.
Oh, and well, if 3 aren't enough, well, Roomstock will add 2 as well to the equation here, and well, then
he's gonna add some bills and some walls as well to
God.
that pressure going forward.
He is so annoying to play against. It's like this guy. Oh, I like him and hate him so much. I'm really happy that I don't have to play, but can cast this game.
Oh my goodness, already laming a gold away from his opponents here. 6 militia out onto the field for the side of Suomi. Just
look at
slapping some walls. The berries as well. Come on, man. People need to eat.
And Tara even blocking there with the camel so that Roomstock couldn't wall properly. So it's the lame to the lame. But yeah, Roomstock, he's the master of lamers.
My goodness. Oh, and then you know what? Velez says, anything you can do, I can do better, Ruben Stock. I'll send a Vil forward and lame some gold as well. Why not? We'll make it a party.
Oh, goddy. MBL now sending 2 villagers to the left-hand side out of there. Remember that it's all visible in the center, so everyone sees that MBL is going to be housed. Now he's trying to find some gold somewhere. Not going to be too pretty for him. Doesn't have a lot of vision in the direction that he's going.
Yeah, this is an important distinction, though, because MBL will be the second player on the side of AM to throw up a dock, whereas on the side of Suomi, we only have the Max with the dock in the back as the Persians. So we might see a bit of an eco difference start to develop here from Dark to Feudal Age.
Some more aggression continuing here. People are looming up. Let's take a quick update on the docks at the Max as the pocket player gets his share at the bottom. And Leary as the flank player, left-hand side for him. Hera as the pocket player, floating 450 wood. Not a single dock.
Oh my goodness. Well, there goes the first dock on the left side. But what's interesting about this is he just forced MBL's... Where are these villagers going? They walked all the way to the left side of the map. And now they're looking for gold.
Yeah, they were looking for gold the full time, but he simply didn't scout anything properly. And he wasn't trying to go to the top. Not really sure what the plan was there. He did pass by 1 gold spot, but kind of knew, okay, a lot of militia will be around there. What a weird travel those 2 had.
Veles is just, he's laming the gold in the back of the AM base. These 6 militia between him and Ruben Stock, they've gained so much map control from Dark Age because of 6 militia.
Oh god, and now the left-hand side villager from Belize. There, as I said, it's so painful to play against Suomi here. They're so active, they will be everywhere. They're so lamey, and people didn't really figure out how to properly respond to that.
Yeah, but here's what I think we should do, Nilly. We should talk about, because we've talked a lot about the advantages that Suomi is building up with this map control, but one of the things we've ignored is that they've spent a lot of resources in order to gain this advantage. Even sending those vills forward. That idle time, as we see Velez's forward vill get walled in by Hera. Oh, a cheeky little play there. You lame my gold, I lame your villager. In response.
And he can't even get out by deleting his own palisades here, but Militia coming over. Yeah, Hera will get home there. Buys a bit of time. The thing is, though, completely uncontested. 2 fishing ship boom. Look at the worker count. Second highest 26, highest 37 for the max already.
Wow, the max being the last of feudal age did sit in dark for a while, but look at the number of fishing ships down there in the southern pond. 2 docks, close to 10 plus fishing ships at this point. The food eco is going to be astronomical for a quick castle and a flood of knights coming from the Persian player. It was the 2 flanks, though, for AM that hit feudal first, so this will be AM's first opportunity to push back against that pressure and try and wrestle some of the control back.
But how do you address knights? Look at that. Hera is now going for Loom. Puts his remaining gold onto a fire galley. Water control will potentially even be won by Belize because he is on gold. Not really sure what Leary can do. He's going for archers, so he's not really fighting for that pawn. Left-hand side looks good. And that's basically the only 2 pawns that are taken at the moment. One completely free for the max. The other one contested by Belize.
Yeah, really good play out of Velez to continue the harassment on that side while making sure that his pocket gets to progress untouched throughout this game. You see that Max did just hit feudal, dropping those feudal buildings now, the stable and the forward position. Looking for the second one. The blacksmith's already down. There you go.
MBL very aggressive at the right-hand side now. He has fletching and is really annoying towards Roomstock, and that's what you said earlier. Those forward villagers or the militia, indirect cost and indirect losses to your own economy, and MBL, he's trying to let Roomstock pay the price now.
Yeah, good harass there. Gets 1 vill pick, forcing skirmishers out of Rubenstock. Never a good sign in a team game when the trash is being produced so early on and forcing a defensive tower up on that wood line of Rubenstock. So good aggression here out of MBL to help AM find a foothold in this game.
Yeah, you're right if we're talking about a normal Arabia game, but this one is a completely wild one where normal rules don't apply. It's just the max. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops to 3rd stable pretty soon. He will just flood everyone and there won't be an answer from AM. They kind of, like, all of them need to go for Spearmen now.
Now, without a doubt, the castle 65% of the way in. Another defensive tower on the left side for Velez to stem the bleeding as Leary tries to be aggressive forward. But just as you said, Neely, it doesn't look like enough damage was done in feudal by AM to protect against what's about to be some incessant, too stable pressure coming out of the max.
Oh, but what's really nice is that the max food eco can't be hit at the moment. His gold eco can be hit though. And scouts of Hera are around there. MBL was stopping by as well. And at the moment, the max, I don't really see gold income for him.
I love that call out. Huge recognition by the AM squad saying the deadly player on their team is the pocket player. How do we make sure he doesn't achieve the maximum effectiveness that he's looking for? The answer is removing him from gold. We see those scouts patrolling back and forth as the villagers make their way back onto gold. They're not going to pull them off. So let's see that night production kick into high gear.
I think the full all-in onto that gold spot could have really paid dividend there. Because, like, how else are you getting control now? It's just like Max running around with knights for the next 10 minutes, I would assume.
You're not, you can already see the response of those 2 knights. Those 2 knights forced all of Leary's military back. Hera already on the back foot. And knights don't have to do any actual damage to the eco if they force the idle military time and the villagers to stop working.
Oh, and just remember also, like, it's all visible in the center. So it's basically like putting those 2 stables in the face and, oh god, they found a hole at the top, overchop in Hera's woodline.
Yep, he's in, getting damage onto the villagers. One vill down, second vill down. It's only one spear in defense, and that's not going to be enough against +1 knights here as a third and a fourth villager go down. Look at this. It's just utter chaos in the back of Hera's base. A flood of spearmen come through to try and help out, but against 3 knights with armor, disaster. Utter disaster, Nilly.
Oh god, and those are the 2 pocket players. You kind of are waiting, okay, maybe the moment Hera gets Castle Age and you can get a lot of camels out. That's the way to come back, but, well, that is delayed heavily now.
They'll clear the 3 knights, but not before tremendous damage is done to the eco there. I also love this move by the Max. He goes ahead and spends the resources for forging, saying, hey, I'm going to look to put the pedal to the metal and get as much eco damage done as I can. Look at that villager count now. 46 for the Max, 33 for the opposing pocket in Hera.
Oh goddy, and well, I don't really see any sneaks there for the pawns. Roomstock even taking the top pawn there, it just looks really, really good. Yeah, AM still controls the left-hand side, but it's 2 against 1 pawns as well.
And while we talk about the damage that's done to Hera, it might be important to look over at Leary's eco, because he's been quietly building up quite a massive eco. 43 villagers himself there, and now clicking to castle. So the second to castle in this game will be Leary. It might be on him to find AM's answer.
Whew. Okay, but he's facing still a lot of skirmishes, so getting onto the super high numbers won't be that easy. And then still remember, if he's the guy that needs to carry with crossbowmen, Persian Knights, pretty high on my counter list.
Oh my goodness, the bonus against archers there for Persian Knights going to come up big for the side of Suomi in this one. And beyond the advantage there for the military, take a look. A second TC has already been dropped for the Max. So what is already a large eco advantage is only going to grow from this point forward.
Skirm's still doing a reasonable job against Leary here. That's pretty nice to see for the least. And, well, if you're the coach of AM now, what's your advice?
This is one of those situations where it feels like some amount of all-in aggression needs to take place. You're kind of beyond normal avenues. To me, it feels of getting back into a game, and now it feels like you either need to majorly outplay a situation, which is where I would be happy to say that Leary of all players is capable of outplaying a situation with micro, or you just need to make some kind of an all-in play, right? Like Leary stays 1 TC, Hera stays 1 TC, and they just go with a flood of cav and a giant ball of crossbows and some siege and try and take someone out.
Okay, coach, I understood that. Next question. How can I build Cav if I'm Hera and I'm not even on gold? He just had 1.3k food, 0 gold, bought himself up to Castle Age. He's still not on gold. Now that's the first time he ever gets onto it. 7 villagers at the top.
It's a damn good question there, as he can't even have a moment to breathe and get his own blacksmith up. Forced to build a slew of spears in defense against these knights. You're right. The answer is hard to come by for Hera. Only 50% of the way to Castle Age. We do see, though, the siege was dropped from Leary. So Leary perhaps recognizing that he needs to get damage done. A second Mangonel already queued up, looking to put the pressure onto Velez and at least force the Max to respond to him.
Oh, and Leary even texts to Pikeman here. Double barrack from him, so he's only scared of the Max for now. But the first knight is even getting the kill against the Mangonel. That's huge.
That is massive. That's so many resources down the drain. And it's more than that, it's about the advantage of the time, right? Having 2 Mangonels out right now, pressuring a TC as opposed to just 1, would have been a huge amount of tempo for AM and forcing a response. But the Max still with plenty of room to breathe, and 5 knights in the back of the AM base still wreaking havoc.
Score is surprisingly close if we see about that. And, well, but you said it earlier, the Max, he simply has a boom behind this. Look at that. He has 3 TCs working for himself. Hera, well, he's just happy to collect gold.
Yeah, score may be close, but the Max has control, and that control is affording Suomi the opportunity to snag their 3rd lake. Take a look at that right side. Rubenstock already full control of the north side, now dropping a dock on the right side, means the eco advantage is only going to grow for the Suomi squad. So for AM, their time is now. They need to find a way to change the tide of this game, and pressuring those production buildings like they did in game 1 against the Max might be the way to do it.
But the Max, he is loading so many resources, drops 2 more stables in the back. If you just compare the worker count, he is at 80. Second highest in the game is Leary at 44 at the moment.
My goodness, almost doubling the next highest in the game. You can take a look at the score there. The only he's about to eclipse 4,000 score individually, while no one else has even hit 3,000 just yet. That speaks volumes to the pocket play of the Max here. Considered by many to be one of the best in the business.
Absolutely. And, well, now we see Lithuanian defense here, and we see redemption as well. So it's just going to be some conversions against those Mangonels. And the lucky thing is, since the center is all visible, you can just start the conversion basically from endless range. And once the Monk gets into his 9 range for a conversion, he instantly starts converting. That should go very easily in his favor.
That's a really good point. Third TC going up here for the Max. Just throwing it up on that hill near his gold for a little bit of safety and control.
It's
a moment to breathe, though.
Right, yeah, indeed.
A moment to breathe, though, for both teams. Yes, there's a small amount of pressure, but you can see here that for AM, you know, they're finally getting an opportunity to establish that front line, that front wall as the third stable comes down for Hera. Cheap Berber Knights. We talk about the Flood, a 1 TC, 3 stable push with Cheap Berber Knights. Could be what they need alongside Pikes and Mangonels to do some damage here in Castle Age.
Ooh, but that means if you go full on Knights, then yeah, it is your 1 all-in, but every single second they're not killing TCs, they're not putting on the pressure. Just means they are falling further behind in the economy. And, well, Roomstock, he just accept that he will give up this castle. He got a castle, his TC, he just got a castle up himself. He will actually flood Huskarls.
Yeah, 1 TC down. But Rubenstock happy to give that up in order to get the castle up and the production of the Huskarls started. A lot of siege. It really comes down to this. How effective is this singular push from AM? It feels like a battle between pressure and the booming and looming imp times of Suomi.
Uh-oh, Huskarl's now going in against MBL's army. Let's take a look. Can he get some ground attacks rolling? Oh, Roomstock does not want to eat them. Goes back, splits a bit, takes some minimal damage. Now next wave here. Nice move. Knights are coming over as well. I think MBL will lose all his Mangonels here.
Yeah, misses with the ground attacks. The Huskarls coming in. Knights to support from the Max, but we do have Knights from Hera and crossbows from MBL. So the fight is close. The siege will go down, though, and Nili, that's the important part. As you called out, the impressive eco from Suomi. They're happy to throw away the military to make sure that they can stop the push in its tracks.
Roomstock already lost his first TC. His main TC will at least might follow up with this one as well. Massive Ramgo at his TC. Lots of pikemen to protect those. Leary, is he thinking better of it? No, he goes for the kill here. And that means all the monasteries could be really exposed behind this as well.
I love this. I love this aggression out of AM. They recognize that there's only one way for them to come back in this. With the eco option off the table, it's all about forward pressure. And the Max says, if you're going to go forward, I'm going to do the same. I have more eco that I can trade away than you do. So if I do the damage into your base the same way you do to mine, I'll still have production and you won't.
Oh, and that's just such a signature, the Max move. The moment you feel like, okay, something is going right, you look at your home base, suddenly 15 knights in your economy, and he's raiding you everywhere.
So who kills faster? Is it the Max killing AM, or is it AM killing Velez? Because that is an astronomical number of Castle Age Rams rolling through the base right now, and with pikemen there to defend, the Max's knights aren't useful in defense.
Yeah, but no, that's actually true, and that's why they're trying to go for the other angle. I think it's just waiting for Roomstock to go over there, because, like, 6 Huskarls should completely clear Leary's aggression.
I like that call, so we're waiting on that red mass of Huskarls to make their way across the map, but they're not there just yet, so Velez is in full retreat mode.
Ram's now going for the main TC of the Max, but he obviously has double DHP. And, oh, look at that cheeky boy. Goes up to Imperial Age.
Yeah, clicks to Imperial Age. In which TC? I hope to God it's not that forward.
It's the one furthest back. I checked as well. I got nervous.
That would have been one way to toss it back. So yeah, it's just so interesting to me that Suomi just willing to absorb this pressure coming forward on making their way to Imp now, saying the Max is our carry. Here comes the Huskarls in response, though. You asked for him. Rubenstock will deliver.
Indeed. I think he could even take this fight here. Maybe waiting for 1-2 more upgrades. Also, like, he doesn't need to take this fight, right? Taking those farms back won't be easy. It's a lot of army, and the max, well, he gets the defensive castle up now. I think it could have been a clear up, but honestly, yeah, Leary, this all-in was nice so far, but he needs to tech switch away from this as well.
Yeah, very nice all in, but it doesn't look to have achieved enough as we still see just 1 or 2 knights from the max, you know, raiding the ecos of all of the AM players, forcing idle time in TCs, and all of that is just an effort to buy himself the time to get to those Imp Age upgrades where the pikes won't matter anymore so much in response to his cavalry.
Oh god, and you see so many red dots on the minimap, so annoying, Roomstock. Look at that, just flooding Huskarls everywhere. His map awareness is outrageous as well.
Center of the map, 8 rams now being targeted by Suomi. I feel like, Nilly, if these rams go down and the Castle Age push gets halted, that it's just disaster for AM. Hera bringing his knights and a few camels in an attempt to salvage this mid lane hold, or mid lane. That's a league term. But
it is the mid lane. It is the mid lane. Yeah.
It is the mid lane, and there it is. It's called when the Castle Age push is stuffed and the Imp upgrade comes in for the max. It's AM who throws in the towel.
And I don't know out of what jungle Roomstock came with all of his Huskarls, but he really surprised those villagers and got a lot of kills there in the back as well.
Wow, Neely, we have quite a series on hand here today. I have been loving the style of play from both teams, really indexing into what their strengths and weaknesses are. You can see the prep for both squads and the in-game decision-making, moment to moment, responding, to the aggression of either team, responding to the disadvantages and the damage that they take in their ecos. It might not look good on the AM front now because they did lose the game, but I feel like that Castle Age aggression was the only option they had in trying to get it back.
Yeah, I like the decision making, surely. And that's the problem. Like, that's also something you cannot train for unless you actually train with Suomi. Because this craziness, this overall aggression, this like out-of-the-box strategies, Lithuanian Drush, Goth Drush, the full boom by the max there. That's something you cannot prepare against. And yeah, Suomi's simply the best and craziest on maps like these.
Yeah, all of that stemming from 6 militia in the Dark Age. A fabulous, fabulous strategy out of Suomi. And I think if we roll over to the statistics, it's no surprise that on that first page, the max has a star next to every category. Just impressive carry pocket performance from him, set up by the pressure of his two flanks.
Yeah, it's the 6 militia and what felt like 4 villagers also, super active, controlling the pawns there as well, making sure that, well, Hera didn't really get to that. And that's also Hera, he has 5 fishing ships more if he reaches feudal age, if it isn't for all this aggression. So even if you don't get the kills, it's so much indirect damage as well.
Exactly. Forcing up those walls around the wood lines, just that little amount, those little bits of wood expenditure here and there, the laming of the resources, forcing MBL to send those 2 villagers on that, 3-year journey to find a pile of gold. Even that is an incredible amount of idle eco at such an early stage of the game.
Holy guacamole. Villager high, 135 there.
It's not even close. That's just a disgusting advantage. Double what anyone else had in the game.
Yeah, just crazy. And yeah, with the resources there, you saw only Roomstock because he built the castles. Outnumbered him there a bit. And oh god, split through the middle. And this guarantees us that we will even have a second Civ draft and a second map draft because we will go to at least 6 games.
Very excited for that. Very excited for that. And it takes away all of the theory crafting we have to do about this 5th game here as we mark off the civs that were just picked. Persians, Goths, and Lithuanians for the side of Suomi means that they have remaining Aztecs, Italians, and Bulgarians for our 5th game here. And then on the other side, it was, help me out here.
Berbers, Japanese... And Celts? Was MBL Celts?
I believe it was Celts, which means that they're left with Burmese, Koreans, and Turks. What an interesting combo of civs there.
And as I said, Desert Slope. Like, how do you approach this one? Celts? Did we really have Celts? Celts feels so good for Desert Slope. We didn't have Celts, right?
Yeah.
What
What was that third civ there? I'm just gonna load it back.
We had Celts, okay. But
okay, it was Celts.
Chat is confirming Celts, but Celts feels so good for Desert Slope now.
Yeah, it was Celts Purpose Japanese. Yeah, you're right. That's a peculiar pickup then for the previous game, simply because I would have loved to have seen the Celts in this situation. We've seen how impressive and how useful they can be on the flank in this next map, specifically.
Indeed, for the chopping out bonus there, but we will talk about that pretty soon because we already got the game number 5 here for us to cast. Sweet. And yeah, they're not giving us a break after the kind of slow start, or maybe the slow start forced by me because I looked in the wrong folder or the wrong chat. Desert Slope, who will take the lead? Who will try to take 2 match points for themselves? We surely will have 2 more maps and a new Civ draft coming after this.
These teams are going the distance today. Putting on a show for us, all right? I'm at 10 seconds, ready and waiting.
Then 8, 9, 10. Here we go.
Game 5, 2-2 stands the score between AM and Suomi. Locked up in this one, trading blows every step of the way, moving into our final game before a secondary Civ draft. And let's take a look at what the teams have come to play with. Ruben Stock will remain in the lineup for Suomi here today. And as we talk over their positions, it's Velez on the flank with the Italians. The Max back, or no. I saw you when I made the assumption it's Ruben Stock in the pocket position with Bulgarians throwing a curveball and the Max in a flank position today as the Aztecs. Nili, what's your initial reaction to this?
This is really wild. Ruben Stock, obviously one of the very best when it comes to late game compositions. Maybe Zuppi not feeling so great, and Ruben Stock, well, after this wild game, which he really enjoyed, he wanted to see some more blood. Bulgarians, an interesting civilization. Remember them as the pocket. You don't need to collect any stone to add up to 4 extra TCs.
Wow. So the boom potential for the Bulgarians is massive, and we know the power of their post-imp with those fully upgraded elite conics, but it's a matter of getting there sometimes to combat, just a strong cavalry civ on the other side. If we take a look at what AM brought to the table, it was those 3 remaining civs, Koreans for Leary on the flank. In that pocket position, it's MBL with the Burmese, and then on the other flank, Hera with the Turks. So still trying to figure out a little bit how these 3 civs are going to work together. But AM's got to have something up their sleeves.
Well, it's also like the leftover civilizations, right? Sometimes it's you're drafting for 4 maps and then it's like, oh, okay, let's just play with this one. And Turks, not the greatest choice because, yeah, you think Janissaries are strong, but you don't have any stone access until you're completely chopped out.
Right. Yep, the stone access only on the outer ring, so needing to make the breakthrough there. In order to get onto stone and get that first castle up. Similarly, the Burmese sometimes love to get that castle up for a Rambai, but being in the pocket position, I would expect more of a knight play this time around from the Burmese player. And Koreans, again, constant questions of how this will be played through Dark and Feudal Age, because those towers in team games, not always the most effective strategy. We do know that, with DE came the wood eco bonus in terms of having the discount on wood units. So still a strong archer option for the Koreans on the flank, and Leary of all players, generally the best when it comes to archer play.
Yeah, he surely will deliver. Interesting approaches on the lumber camp placement here. If you want to chop out Leary, he directly built the lumber camp next to the wood line. As you can see, Hera, he actually left a spot there in between different approaches. Hera might be out there a tiny bit earlier, but a bit less efficient in the long run. Also, something I want to remember, you guys, we are playing with a March patch, therefore Bulgarians still haven't paladins.
Very good call out. So it is looking at those conics in the absolute late game. You talk about chopping to the outside. I'm looking over at Velez, who clearly is microing those 2 villagers to get as quickly to the outer ring as he possibly can. Already on that second layer of trees. One of the strategies we've seen a number of teams take is getting to the outer ring first, rotating a villager around, and in some cases preventing the opposing team from breaking through to the outer ring as quickly as they might want to.
Indeed, and extremely strong with that are the Celts, and that's why we were so confused that Celts were picked on the last map, because the outshop is just so strong, and you can see a lot of micro going on by the Finns here. So on the other side, well, Hera not taking full care of that.
Yeah, but one of the common characteristics on this map is early walls from each of the players as they, their bases are positioned up on those hills, easily defensible, throwing out walls across the front of their base. AM quick this time to throw. They don't want any of that drush pressure this time around, Millie.
Look at the minimap. Don't you see the happy smiley of the Max?
Yep. I love it. They're all drawing pictures for us. Rainbow smiles around the map.
The eye looked weird for a small moment, but that's a happy little the Max there.
I love it. I love it. Well, not a ton to talk about in the early stages of this game because of the defensive nature of their base setups. But you can see here the Max, as he completes his wall, left a nice 3-tile gap there, presumably for his first military building that he'll be dropping.
Oh, look
in
at
earnest.
Look at the Max. He's walling a lot, but kept himself a small opening there to get some more elephants towards his TC. Did even heal his eagle. I think he is getting like elephant number 3 or even 4 at the moment. That's going to be a massive economy boost.
Huge eco boost for the Aztec player. Already have a phenomenal eco as a Civ, so this will just accelerate it even further.
And apparently my chat is going completely wild with how the people look like. I see a sad smiley there for Rubenstock. And apparently people see a sad smiley for Velise as well. I don't really see that though.
I love it. A little Pictionary game here.
Yeah.
One of these teams might lose the best of 7, but they could walk away Pictionary winner. So.
Did you see the first ECL opening events?
From back in November?
No, that was like January
last year.
2019, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Before the LAN, but sorry, I was thinking of the LAN back in November. But yeah. I watched DCL as best I could all the way through.
They had to draw stuff as well, and then like they had to draw like Leary's Townsend impression and everything. I was like, oh god, the memes created from that one were hilarious as well.
Well, this time around, as all the players are closing in towards Fetal, it'll be Hera first up, the Turk player on the right-hand side of our screen.
180
but with all of our players at that 25 to 27 villager mark, they are likely fast castles all the way around.
But what is Hera's build order here? That looks really weird. Is that an intentional fast castle, but he didn't have enough food or what? He didn't have enough wood for the buildings? That looks like really choppy.
Because he dropped a barracks. So he used wood on a barracks, but now only had the wood for the blacksmith. Something feels off here.
If you compare that to MBL, who played the smooth fast castle, yeah, arguably with Market Blacksmith, but he is already up. Hera's dropping its stable. Ooh.
Okay, dropping stable. Loom coming in now. So he held the Loom upgrade till Feudal Age. And now following it with 2 more Vills in production.
It's a weird build order. Not really sure if he changed his mind there or what happened, but well, that will put him behind only slightly though. But well, he would have transitioned to something a bit smoother. I'm still not sure why he's adding the stable. Don't you think like the crossbow would be more natural and more Hera-esque?
One would think. The only justification I can really come up for that is, of course, that as the Turks, he'll get the immediate light cav upgrade in castle, and if he can break through to the outer ring, a few light cav to harass any villagers emerging from the opposing wood lines could do some serious damage and would be definitely unexpected from the side of Suomi.
Ah, and look at that. Actually, they might run into a lot of villagers and unprotected archers as well. No spearmen there. Velise is indeed going for it. They think they have the good timing. On the other side, the Max only one screen away from blocking that woodland as well, and still 70 wood left. Uh-oh, this is looking troublesome for AM.
We've got ourselves a bit of a foot race here. 2 archers versus 2 choppers. Can they get through the wood of that tree first, or will the 2 archers from the side of Velise make it over to Hera's woodline before he can break through?
Well, Leary's woodline will be walled off for sure, and Terra's woodline, I think 75 wood won't be enough. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there with light cav. I really like Suomi's position here.
Oh, this could be absolute disaster for AM. That is so much food invested into scout production that would only be effective on the outside of the map because there's walls everywhere else. You can see already that Leary moving forward with his archers and scout has run into double palisade walls. So Hera would have the same result if he can't get to the outer ring.
Uh-oh, and that's only them to blame. Because that's like micro that they didn't go for. Suomi, as you saw, and now they are microing against those villagers. This will be ugly. Where are you really getting wood now?
Yeah, crossbows are in. They're on the back of the wood line on both sides of the map. Walled in on one side, crossbows harassing on the other side, and now walling in. For AM, the answer is MBL in the middle, and even he isn't close to chopping through. They're going to get isolated to the center of the map, Nilly.
Uh-oh, and then I think Suomi won't shy away from building some mangonels on the outside as well. And MBL, how can he contest that? He then needs to go for monks, try to go for mangonels as well. It's not looking pretty.
No, not pretty at all. One thing we do have to remember is that there are still options in the center of the map. It's not like all of the resources are placed to the outside. There is gold control in the middle. So whereas AM might have to forfeit some of those wood lines, if they can wrestle control of the middle of the map and push through the center, they can change the state of the game. They can change the focal point of this matchup.
You're always fighting uphill then against potentially better economy, and it's so much to micro on the outside. Every time you try to chop wood, crossbows will be around here. But yeah, probably a push through the center makes more sense. But look at the Max reaction against center aggression.
Yep, you see that forward monastery being dropped by the Burmese player, so definitely looking at some aggression. But while the aggression moves forward in the center of the map, you see that single crossbow from Velise on the backside of MBL's base, just saying, hey, I'm here, I'm aware that you're trying to chop through, and I'm not going to let you.
Yeah, I see you. And ooh, it's still like, okay, you can build defensive towers, as we can see from Hera. He's building the siege workshop, so wants to still contest the outside. I think this is the moment where M doesn't need to add a lot of farms, right? Could they not just go for the center a lot and get some extra gold and free food?
I love that idea. I would like to see a number of TCs dropped. Leary's already dropped one on that forward gold next to the berries and the hunt. Would love to see the same from each of the other AM players. Establish control over the middle. Take the free resources that are provided to you. If you're not dropping farms, you're not using the wood. And while the wood access is the thing you're struggling to find, finding ways to alleviate wood expenditure is the best thing you can do.
Uh-oh, the Max with the mangonels behind Lyria's woodline. Now he needs to try to find another angle, but that's never going to be pretty. Meanwhile, the aggression through the center. Oh, we already have redemption for MBL.
Yeah, breaking through the first layer of palisade walls, running into a stone wall on the other side, but with redemption, able to threaten that siege workshop. Deleted by the Max, which means an opening into the base and the light cav are in.
Oh, not committing against the mangonel, though. I think that could have been really justifiable there. Nice quick wall, doing more damage against those light cav. It's tricky. The mangonel can't even really contest because it could get converted from distance. I think the Max will lose his main TC here.
Yeah, good pressure here from AM and nice control being able to at least get on top of the hill. So they're no longer fighting up a hill advantage like they had to do in their initial push. But it's just pressure onto one TC while Suomi is happy to expand into the outer ring. Look at that, extra TCs being dropped by all three of the players on the outer ring.
Indeed, and the beautiful thing is that with the aggression at the front, Terra's just diving in, dives back, it's getting healed up. So it's like constant aggression without losing anything. Again, now fully healed up, and he will just try to see, okay, for some idle time, goes back again.
All right, another ram out onto the field. So pedal to the metal here. MBL looking to crush through these walls and put pressure onto the Max's TC, but you might take that TC down. Look at what the Max is doing. The most classic the Max move. A one vil TC drop in the back of AM's base, right next to that siege workshop. He's gonna reboom. He's gonna boom right there behind Leary's base.
Yeah, lovely, lovely move. And the thing is, you can't just give up everything there, just double gate down like he is doing, and it's just so tough for your opponent to push you away. Yeah, you're losing 2 TCs, yeah, you're losing 15 farms, but I don't think he lost a single villager.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So, sure, a few resources go down the drain, but you still have plenty of room to breathe. You've protected that outer ring with even dropping a second stone wall. I like that to close off that one tile gap. Checking back in with the pressure being done on the other side of the map, you can see still Expos and Mangonels harassing wood lines. Hera was able to carve out a little bit of a wood line for himself, though, with the use of a tower and some Mangonels. Just needs to chop through that final tree to be able to place a town center on the outer ring.
Yeah, it felt like he clicked on the outside and then only saw, okay, well, I didn't really chop through it yet. Floats a lot of wood, really wanted to go outside. Not the craziest villager numbers here. Now the aggression shifts away from the Max towards Roomstock, who already has a defensive Krepos, though.
Defensive Krepos out already on the inner ring, so really well done by him as they can see that pressure transitioning towards him. Military numbers well in favor of AM, but the eco advantage is there for Suomi. So just like last game, it feels like AM's on a clock. They need to do damage now.
Yeah, it feels a bit like the Grand Barra game as well. Like a yellow pocket player, 5 TC boom, and just waiting to swarm everything. Just switch the names now.
And those cheap Krepos are such a great defensive building. I think, you know, as an addition to the game, it really changes dynamics when Bulgarians are in the game and can get something defensive down for half the cost of castle.
Yeah, I would really like to see fletching here. It's so frustrating to see all this army so close and all your vision here of your Roomstock, and you can't really shoot them.
That's a very good point.
He will be up to Imperial Age any second now. Like, he at least clicked, 10% now.
There it is. So, first to Feudal again for Suomi, pocket player. Once they get there and the upgrades come in, we'll look for them to shift the pace of the game, kind of where they're absorbing pressure right now in order to get to those later stages of the game and better upgrades. At that point, the onus will be on them to kind of shift the flow of the game and push forward.
Yeah, and I think that shouldn't be the trickiest thing, right? We now see the university, we see some stables being dropped. I wouldn't be surprised if Roomstock clicks Fortified Wall now. Like, if you ever want to break a guy, I think Roomstock is the worst one to go for.
Yeah, he'll be happy to throw resources at all the defensive upgrades there to keep you. I mean, look at that. He's got two house walls thick plus a stone wall behind it. You're never getting through to that yellow player's base. If we check back in with AM, though, Nilly, they are following the strategy you would ask them, which was to extend out into the middle of the map. We see now a blue TC dropped by Hera on the right side of the map, and continued military buildings being dropped by Leary, just making sure that they have structures in the center of the map.
Yeah, love that. They will get a lot of free food, extra gold there as well. The big problem is woodline, though, and, well, that's still a very big task for them. It's not looking pretty, so much more towers, and the Finns are just so annoying with those spots. Allowing MBL to get some woodline, but the long run is still looking pretty nice for Suomi, in my opinion.
Yeah, Hera chopped it out, but look, even though he made it to the outer ring, he hasn't been able to establish a presence. Crossbows, double Mangonel doing really good work now and taking down that tower and preventing Hera from establishing TC presence on that gold.
I think Belize even converted Mangonel inside there. Let's take a look. Lightcav trying to find some damage, but Belize with a nice quick waltz here won't allow any clear-ups.
Yeah, love that awareness. Dropping those walls to force those Light Cav into an uncomfortable position if they want to pressure the Mangonels. Good little crossbow army there to play defense. Checking back in, though, with the green pressure onto the pink player. MBL, 3 Rams, 3 Mangonels pushing forward, but we already have a defensive castle placed by Velez right behind the TC. So, yeah, we'll get a little bit of structural damage in here, but it's not going to be enough to really push through.
Yeah, if you have 100 villagers, losing some houses, losing a blacksmith isn't the worst thing in the world. He has guard tower tech as well, send some villagers over. Yeah, MBL will clear it up eventually, but I think the Velez doesn't care that much.
Look at the foresight, too. Look at the foresight. Top of your map, Rubenstock is already dropping a market. The Max has done the same on the left side, so they're thinking ahead. We don't have middle control. We have outside control. So let's use that to our advantage and establish trade early while we're inhibiting AM's ability to do so.
Oh, and Hera was asking for aid at the right-hand side. Leary answered and did send all his villagers over, but look at that. They couldn't get through there. Velez just built another stone wall, and they're just waiting there. Need to break that again.
Those Arbalists just made a trip across the world only to run into a wall.
More towers on the outside here. So annoying play. I'm still not really seeing where Roomstock is with all his potential paladins. He's taking for them now. Is dropping more stables. Is getting a lot of control. And, well, where are good raiding points? I actually see a lot of them in the center.
Yeah, he's split his cav up. He's got a group to the left and a group to the right, looking to harass these villagers, trying to drop military buildings here for MBL. So that's great to halt the production of the barracks. And then on the left side against the archers from Leary, look at the harassment on the TC. These cav are going to be happy to sit under the TC. That's 10, maybe 15 vills going down. If the cav actually move.
I was just like, are you looking to somewhere else? Mine are not moving, but yeah, now they're going for it, and yeah, they will eat some villagers quite easily. Now some Arvalest being added there for the defense. That's not really going to work, and those are heavy, heavy losses for Leary.
Very, very heavy losses. We see Velez dropping another castle on the right side, establishing more control on the right side of the map. We see some X's dropped. Right in the middle of Hera's base, Leary on full defensive mode as MBL retreats with his Mangonels.
Oh, not going to be easy. Finally, I think Leary is chopping out there himself with the trap, with the castle, and, well, he is surely screaming freedom in TeamSpeak now because, well, he didn't have wood control for basically the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, broken through at last here is the AM player, the Korean player. He'll finally get knowledge of that TC drop from the Max in the back of the base and see the farm eco that's been established. But perhaps they can wrestle control back now as he's losing tons of ground in the middle.
Just go into Leary's point of view. He sees nothing on the outside as well. They've never really been in the outside. Same goes for MBL. They're only in the center.
Their vision is limited strictly to the wood lines. Quite literally, the outline of the inside of the map. Oh. It's just phenomenal control by Suomi throughout the entire early portions of this game. Has allowed that pocket player Rubenstock to boom up, get to this force of paladins that is wreaking havoc on the left side of the map. Yes, there are those very powerful Burmese halberdiers in the mix, though, now. Gonna force the paladin player back. Leary looking to drop a town center directly where he last lost one.
Yeah, apparently liked the spot, and, well, why not? Why not? The long story here in the game, though, is where will AM trade if they ever get onto the trade? Because at the moment, 3 corners belong to Suomi.
Yeah, corner control is not there, so they're going to have to, wrestle it away from at least one of those 3 pressure points that you're talking about. My next question is, how does the Max get involved? Because, yes, he's had this phenomenal pressure in the back of the base, but I'm still not seeing very many military numbers, and that'll be the question for Suomi, is how do they support the Paladins? Because Paladins can't run headfirst into a whole bunch of Burmese halberdiers.
Yeah, that's actually true. Italians won't have the toughest answer to that. Just Genoese or Arbalest are an easy support there. Maybe you even go for Arbalest as a Net 6 player. Yeah, you're lacking the last defense upgrade. Yeah, you're lacking thumb rings, but it's still quite reasonable. And just holding the center, maybe just Monk Onager could be an option as well. But he just goes the max style. He just produces everywhere.
There it is, engagement in the middle of the map. Oh, great positioning from those Arbalists in the middle of some berry patches. Gonna get a really good trade here in terms of cost effectiveness as the Halberdiers come in and chase the cavalry off. That's a good small win for the AM side.
Oh god, natural wall there around him. Yeah, that was really, really sweet. Roomstock, he is sitting at pop 253 paladins on the map. Incredible KD for him at the moment. But yeah, as you said, he's not finding the beautiful engagements that he wants anymore.
Hera is losing all of his vills on that center TC. He has not realized these two paladins have been... There he is. He finally garrisons into the TC, but lost maybe 8 villagers to 2 paladins prior to that. Very focused on this 1v1 that he's locked into on the right-hand side. He's got those free... quote-unquote free bombard cannons out because of the chemistry upgrade for the Turks, along with a pack of Hussar. How do these two compositions end up interacting in the late game? We know that the Turks, with their chemistry, have really powerful gunpowder. Is it enough to push the Italians back with a little support from those paladins?
Well, the thing is, paladins should just wreck this completely, right? Hussars, bombard cannons, they can't do much. Villagers will get sniped there with the castle as well. Bombard cannons trying to find some kills. Vilise alone could probably not fight this one, but I think like 8 paladins alone should clear up Hera here.
Yeah, a really good hold on that side. Hera will try and rush that castle up as we had another engagement around that all-important berry patch in the center of the map. Leary dropping a defensive castle there, establishing more control. A really interesting tale of 2 different positions. We've got the inner ring versus the outer ring. Which one will win out in this situation? Hard to tell.
We see the big Hussar jump now from Hera, and he will face not so many paladins, so I think he's actually taking a reasonable fight. I don't really see any Genoese production either at the moment. That's a bit underwhelming. Now Elite Genoese being tagged, so Hussars won't do much in the long run, but Hera did buy himself a lot of time.
Yeah, a small pack of paladins arrived to support. But those bombard cannons make it easy to clear out the trebs from the Italian players. So Hera holding the position.
And before artillery, you could make an argument that Vilise could go for bombard cannons as well. Bulgarians, I think they even have siege rams, so maybe that's a big answer. Like Paladin siege ram, but MBL now arrived as well. Not really with any barracks, which would help out, but some halberdiers.
I like this too. Check the center of the map again. Rubenstock forward with Vils, dropping Krepos. So looking to, contest some of that middle control. Maybe push Hera off of this gold here. And while he's pushing Hera off of that gold, take a look at the guard towers that are being dropped by the Max in the southern part of MBL's base.
Oh god, so annoying. And, oh yeah, here, between all the halberdiers, that's just... Well... Your typical, the max to perfection. I think he even has... Why is it 7+5? Is that isn't arrow slits, right? Aztec condos now on the field. Ooh, that's something we don't see too often.
I was literally just about to ask, let's check in on military numbers, because the Max was playing, for the most part, tower defense, or tower offense, I should say, and now transitioning into a little bit of military. Eagles out onto the field, Italian, or Aztec condos as well. Hera trying to lend some support to his pocket. I think the thing for AM is going to be that continued discussion around corner control. And for Suomi, they're happy to let this game drag on as long as they control 3 of the 4 corners.
Oh, I have to tell you something very, very horrible. In DE, the market furthest away will always be targeted by trade cards. So do you see how the least trade cards are going through the center of the map, through all the towers and the castles, because Vilise still has a market at the bottom. Only now deleting him. But he lost so many trade cards.
The Korean towers. That's the Korean tower dream right there. Was just annihilating trade carts full of gold on their way through the map. Good recognition, though, to see that those trade carts are going down. Make the pivot. Get them back into a safe line of trading. Hera using those Hussar as best he can to clear out the military from the Max, but the Max dropping a castle in that 4th corner. They're going for 4 corner control, Nilly.
Yeah, and he knows he will get cleared up there, right? It's just trying to buy time. I wouldn't be surprised if he just takes a village and walls the stone wall, the gold there as well. Just to be as annoying as possible.
And as he's being annoying as possible in the bottom side of the map, we still have Rubenstock trying his damnedest to push through the center, but the towers, the keeps and the bombard towers from Leary coming out along with the massive Arbalest is making it very hard for Rubenstock to get a foothold in the center.
Yeah, I think he can't really ever push this one. This is just try to snipe some traps, try to buy yourself time, and just starve them on gold.
And starved is a great word for it, because you can see here Hera's getting pushed further and further back, now onto just a single gold mine in the back of his base, getting pushed out of the center and pushed off the right side. Trebs for Velez finally getting some real damage done and moving forward.
Oh man, so much annoying still happening everywhere, and well, in the center, that's kind of the spot where Rubenstock could maybe make something happen and try to raid some, because that's at the moment the biggest economy that AM has on the field.
Yeah, we talked about the, establishing control of the middle of the map and how that would afford, AM some breathing room with their ecos. But being pushed on both sides, that pincer move, you can see MBL's left side of the map, which we've largely ignored up to this point. Sure, he's got lots of towers and bombard towers up in defense, but the Trebs moving forward from the max just means that that livable area, the playable area for AM continues to shrink.
And yeah, it's so nice by him how he's getting the control. Still bugs out a bit between those berries, and the elephant doesn't really know what he's doing. And yeah, we'll get the castle though, and now I want to see a big raid from him.
Yeah, the most telling thing for me now is taking a look at the villager counts. Hera has fallen to 76 with the raiding and the pressure that's been coming through from Velez. Now trying to make the switch into Turkish Cav archers.
Oh, 90 HP there, so we have the extra HP upgrade. Hussars now from Rubenstock coming in as well. But CA, they aren't performing well against Genoese. And oh boy, AM is tapping this one out. And Suomi is securing themselves 2 match points.
Wow. And they did it in a way I didn't expect. Rubenstock moving to the pocket position, shoving the max, the normal pocket player, out onto the flank. The early chop through on both sides, just total control of the map from minute one. Recognizing that if we micro this correctly and get ourselves into position, we can control the outside corners of the map. And then it doesn't matter if we cede that mid control. We have defensible bases on hills. We'll hold, out eco, out boom, and then establish the right kind of hold on the map.
Yeah, that was so sick. And the Max, how he just gave up his eco, how he gave up his starting base and just completely accepted it without any villager losses. That was just so smooth. Meanwhile, well, Rubenstock just doing Rubenstock things, stone walls, houses, Krapos, as you mentioned it earlier. Then Velez did get time to build his defensive castle as well. And the outside control was just so good. But also, we have to pinpoint AM not doing the greatest job of chopping outside.
No, that's just those small micro things that can really get in the way. And yes, they let those things fall through the cracks this time around. I liked their awareness, though, that in that moment, the answer was to go aggressive with the forward siege and the monks looking to do damage, but the composure from Suomi to absorb that pressure, drop those stone walls, prevent any raiding from making its way out into the outer ring. Just top tier play all around. And we sit at 3-2. Looks like we're heading in to a 6th and possibly a 7th game.
Oh boy. And the match will be Beach Fight and Canyon Lake, but we will take a quick peek at the KDs here and all the statistics. Rubenstock's most kills here by quite a margin.
My goodness. 450 to 194 in units lost. An incredible KD there. For the whole Suomi team, even Velez there, only 85 units lost, had incredible control on the right side of the map in the Italians versus Turkish matchup. So yeah, impressive play there. You scroll on over to the economies and you can see that massive food lead for Rubenstock as well, followed by gold. So for the Cav player, those are the 2 categories that matter and the 2 categories that he won.
Yeah, Lyri got mass amount of stone, but it's not like I saw too many towers here. It didn't like get too crazy. It's like I remember like 2 castles, 5 keep, 1 bomber tower or something. Maybe he did sell all that because they had so little gold control.
Possibly he did. There was that moment where he got shoved off his gold in the middle, so maybe he was hurting for some gold in that moment and being unable to break into the backside.
Actually,
of the map.
stone was heavily bought here. 270 stone in the end. Yeah, I'm surprised as well.
Wow. Well, you know, a number of bombard towers did go up in the middle and the left side of the map, but I guess they just didn't really seem to come into play as much as, you know, everything, the military, the real military that was on the map.
Yeah. Agreed. So beach fight picked by Aftermath, and we have Canyon Lake picked for Suomi. Now let's take a look at the final Civ draft here. I think, how do I want this? I think this one looks nice. And I can send you a link pretty soon.
Okay.
For all the civilizations. And this one is the draft.
Perfect. I'm going to open this up, but I am going to run to the restroom real quick just before we get into these final couple games, and I'll be right back.
Okay. And we can do some paint work here. What do we expect for Canyon Lake, and what do we expect for beach fight, most likely? So I will select this one. And I will mark, let's say blue is Canyon Lake. And let's go red is beach fight. So I'm expecting... Oh god, that was a lot of bands as well. What are we doing here? Beach fight, Canyon Lake. That's interesting civilizations. So it feels like Vikings should be a good pick for Canyon Lake, right? On the other side, beach fight has to be a pick for with Chinese. Then we have probably Canyon Lake, Japanese, is what I assume. Probably beach fight, Malay. This is not that easy for me, honestly. I will go for Canyon Lake. Or is it Ethiopians? That's so weird, guys. Frank's Canyon Lake? Really? Isn't not Hunt's Canyon Lake and Frank's? I'm surprisingly bad at this. I will just undo everything. Here, take this. I feel more comfortable with this. Ay. Mongols Canyon Lake? Makes sense, yeah. Makes a lot of sense, yeah. Suomi leading 3-2. Beach fight, I could see Teutons there. I could also see Berbers there. Why do you have Teutons, Magyars, and Berbers? There's 3 pocket civs, no? What? Why does Suomi have such weird civs? See, Chinese super strong. Japanese makes a lot of sense. Hans Franks make a lot of sense. I like AM civs so much more. Teuton, Magyar, Berber. Is that Magyar or Berber pocket on beach fight and Teuton flank for the Monk Rush? It has to be it. Teuton Tower from Rubenstock. Well, beach fight we don't have stone, so that won't really happen. And on Canyon Lake, tower rushing, I don't see that either. I'm really baffled by those civilizations.
I've returned to a confuzzled Nilly.
Yeah, indeed. I'm trying to make sense out of Suomi's Civ. It just feels like Teutons are played as a flank, as the Mongrass Civ on Beach Fight. And we have Magia and Berber Pocket.
Interesting. Yeah, that is somewhat peculiar. Well, we've seen the effectiveness of Berbers in that very close quarters.
And Lithuanians weren't banned either and aren't picked for Canyon Lake. I don't understand this world.
Yeah, I don't know. The AM civs definitely inspire a little more confidence in me at this moment.
Okay, Mongol Hunt on Beach Fight. That's something I can see, but you can spawn just in the go direction. Then you can't use it at all.
Right. And then the Vietnamese pick on the other side, I think, is going to help AM a ton in terms of getting an advantage in that close quarters combat. You know, where you'd be looking to get up early as a Mongols player, maybe. But I just think that having Vietnamese is going to give AM so much control early.
It's so weird. This draft, I thought, okay, it's just a repeat and we just extend basically the stuff, but those are completely new civs and matchups we haven't seen on those maps, guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's exciting from the perspective that we're going to see something new then. We're pretty much guaranteed to see something new, which could be cool. This perhaps the very practice strategy somewhere in here from Suomi that we're, currently unaware of.
That would be pretty crazy, because that's like even next level of preparation, right? You expect the series to go to at least 6 games, and preparing for an unusual scenario would be pretty crazy. But yeah. If anyone does it, then it's Suomi.
Right, of all the teams, this is one of the teams that we know is willing to put the time into developing a specific strategy and executing on it. As compared to, say, Yin Yang, no longer in the tournament, sure, but that, a team that's willing to make a game messy, but their decisions generally seem to be made more in the moment and based on the map state or the information they have, not necessarily a pre-planned strategy to make things messy.
Now the big question, though, is Zuppi arguably better on those 2 maps, but Rubenstock's just coming out of 2 wins as well.
Yeah, they've been on fire and momentum. It's an important point of discussion as the 6th game has just been sent over. That's exciting. Here we go. Get this loaded in so that our questions can be answered.
Indeed, 2 match points now for Suomi. The pressure is really on, and if we know about Aftermath and their mental state, it's looking really, really good for Suomi here.
This is not where I expected to be, Nilly, if I'm being honest. I did not expect to be in a 3-2 situation with Suomi leading.
Neither did I. My final prediction was 4-2 for Aftermath. I'm at 10 seconds, my man.
Me too. Let's go.
8, 9, 10. Here we go. Game number 6.
Game number 6 with Suomi in the lead. You heard Nilly just say it. We didn't really expect to be here. I think the average AoE2 fan would have aligned with you in saying that AM is favored to win the series, but Suomi, no slouch. And as we move on to our 6th map, let's take a look at the positions and the rosters. Once again, the Max opting for a flank position, Rubenstock remaining in the lineup in that pocket, and Velez on the other side. So that momentum, they're going to choose to carry it forward, just as you suspected, Nilly.
Oh boy, that's super interesting. And well, Teutons, that's most likely going to be Monks here. I don't really see any other options. Then we have Rubenstock as the pocket. Berbers will be a really nice spam from him. Very surprised that they went for this combination, because I don't mind Rubenstock monk rushing. I obviously don't mind the Max going for mass knights. So that's really interesting for me. Big woodline between them and Mr. Velez, who is going for archers. Something I really like to see.
Yeah, that wood line out in front of Rubenstock's base is really interesting. It's going to make it very easy, I think, for him to play defensively and get to a good position as the pocket player. Immediately on this map, of course, you see all the scouts head to the outside ring, trying to find those goats, get the food in towards the TCs. So not too much Dark Age action, even with Vietnamese on the side of AM. Hera on the flank there with the Vietnamese and knowledge of the opponent's TC positions. Not a ton of laming coming through. It will be MBL in the pocket position for AM this time around with the Franks, a very classic pocket civ. And Leary back on the Chinese in blue on the right side. Another flank game for him.
And another interesting positioning here, right? It's the same positioning they just lost with Leary and Terra flank MBL as the pocket position. Didn't go for Mongols here, which we felt could be the good option to maybe go for all this beautiful hunt at the bottom end, the north part of the map. Didn't happen. Mongols for Canyon Lake.
Yeah. Didn't happen, so they're holding on to that. I mean, we saw AM use the Mongols to perfection in an earlier game. It was Leary, the one who had it, and with that early feudal time was able to do some damage. So maybe they're holding that to be the clincher in Game 7 if they can come away with the victory this time around. But you got to win Game 6 to get to Game 7, so the pressure is on for AM in this one.
Something I still want to talk about, the big woodline here for Rubenstock. Yeah, it will be an easy defense, but only an easy defense if he vaults himself. How can he really get to his teammates easily? I think we might get into the ugly spot that if Rubenstock vaults himself and goes for the very cheap vaults, then it's basically the enemy armies of AM in between them again.
I think the Max is going to be the person who suffers for this, because you can already see the walls coming up for Velez, and he's going to close off this one other entrance here on the front of his base. So it looks like him and Rubenstock will be... Oh! No, look at this aggressive walling attempt from Velez.
Ooh, I like that one a lot. Yeah, it completely ignores the big woodline here. You're not really using it. But for a team wall and team play perspective, lovely.
If they pull this off, it'll be wildly impressive. You see the pings from the Max, so it's actually, there's a little confusion here. He's pinging between two wood lines, but that would leave it. Oh, no. Okay, he's rotated over. They must have spoken in TeamSpeak to correct that call. They are going to drop these really aggressive forward walls. If they can establish them, would be a big win from a team game perspective, especially because they get control of that hill. That massive hill in the middle of the map.
Nice spot indeed. The good thing is you get all the map control. You have to question yourself, though, can we protect this? Because there won't be a lot of villagers around. There won't be a lot of spots to wall behind this. So you either double, maybe even triple wall now, or it might easily be broken and can't defend.
A little bit of a scout engagement on the hill, but with Rubenstock's scout nearby and an extra vill for the Max, there's no way that Hera can stop this wall from going up.
Rubenstock sending some villagers to the top corner here, and, well, that will be 5 villagers in total. Easily getting a lot of food. No one going for the outside except him for now. The Max, I'm not really sure what he scouted of the walls yet. Goes for the big walls in the center. Okay, now he walls in between himself and Hera as well. Might go for some quick walls. I think the scout of Hera could die here.
Yep, looks like that scout may get locked inside here and go down eventually. But I think the Max will be our focal point. Moving towards Feudal Age, we had questions about how they were going to utilize this Teutons pick on the flank. Quite obviously, Vietnamese and Chinese for AM, are civs that are served well by going straight into archers. Ethiopians as well for Velez. But the Teutons, I'm curious how they'll switch up this the way that this game is played and the general flow of it early on.
Well, I that's why I was so confused with those 3 civilization choices, right? We have, well, basically 3 pocket civs if we looked at it. So Teutons, maybe they were scared of a monk rush from AM, but the civilizations didn't really indicate it. And, well, I think they will just simply monk rush themselves here.
Yeah, looking for monks in siege. It will be Rubenstock, the first to head out to one of the 4 corners. Heading to the north of the food corner for a little bit of that extra hunt to support his food eco and lessen the need to spend wood on any farms after those initial ones are exhausted.
Yeah, and didn't even go for the barriers yet. That's quite interesting as well. Is pushing that one back quite far. And indeed, we said it. Those walls aren't easy to protect. The Max goes for the double wall, realizes that. Billy is only going for 1 layer here, though. That's a bit surprising to me.
Yeah, 1 layer. Barracks going up now for the Ethiopian player. Remember, they get that injection of food and gold upon reaching the next stage, so it's generally a very easy transition for them straight into archers and getting fletching onto those archers early. So perhaps he's just relying on himself to have the advantage in feudal in order to protect those walls.
Dash, just compare the walls. Like, the Finns, all cuddly together, all trying to create a friendly base for all three of them.
Yeah.
Leary, on his own. MBL, on his own. Hera, on his own.
It's the most classic AM play in the world, right? A bunch of really talented individual players who somehow ended up on a team together. But they still, in a lot of ways, play like a bunch of really talented individual players. And you can kind of see it even there, exactly, from their wall placement.
And they're becoming better and better friends. Every team game, they're screaming at each other. So, yeah, they're heavily improving there. But it's just like such a funny testament to like how we always still view them.
Yeah. Look at that. The first 3 castle clicks to come through will be the pocket player for AM, MBL, followed by Veles, the Ethiopians, and flank player for Suomi, and then Leary on as the Chinese. But the other 3 not far behind, all 6 of our players on the way to the castle age. So we will get to the castle age before any real military action takes place.
Yeah. Funny, first military unit produced here at the 13-minute 40 mark, and it's just some archers, everyone indeed fast castling. No one thinking about going imp, and oh, look at that. The Max even dropping some stone walls. He does not want to be broken.
Wow. Ultra defensive here, saying, look, we got the position early in the game with these palisade walls. Let's secure it with the stone walls. I wouldn't be surprised, based on your idea of the monks from the Teutonic player, that a siege workshop and double monastery or something get dropped right on that hill as soon as castle age is reached.
We have 7 villagers on gold now for the Max, so surely not unlikely. The thing is, he is not walling with a gate over here, so that kind of indicates that he rather would like to go the direct way between him and Hera.
All right, so some more immediate pressure to his opponent than a defensive position, but the stone walls should give them sufficient warning as he locks one of his own villagers in between those 2 walls. If any offensive pressure comes from AM. Here we have Veles as well, throwing down some stone walls and a gate. So really trying to control those choke points on this very tight map.
Absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. And let's take a look. It now feels like the Max might even use those 2 gates and wants to build his production over there. And then they're in between Leary and MBL. And suddenly it could be all reversed from what I feared at the start, looking at Ruben's woodline. It feels like Suomi will have all 3 players pushing through the center together.
Yep, extra TC dropped for Ruben's stock on that front gold and next to the woodline. Great position there for him. Castle Age is in for pretty much everyone. University early for the Ethiopian player. So we're going to have fast ballistics and possibly some heavy damage done once that comes in.
Oh, okay. Interesting play here by Leary. Knights now. What is MBL? He's asking to be let in? What is MBL doing there with his knights?
I must have heard there was a party or something, and
now he's going out on the other way again. What happened here?
I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. Look, and even more, they're funneling around. What are all these knights doing?
I don't know. And it's like even the scout opening by MBL. This feels complete like random rated game.
Yeah, something about this game in the last. AM feels a little off kilter. I think so. Oh, I say that while Leary gets a little bit of damage on one of Veles's woodlines in the back. Mm-hmm. So that archer play again for Leary's always one of the fastest to a little mass of archers and getting that damage done early.
But Veles not really reacting. Still 2 villagers on gold there. That's really surprising to me. How those units are still able to potentially do some more damage. Next archer going down. Veles very careless here.
Yeah, 3 villagers tossed away early on. Seems a little bit more focused on the pressure they're trying to create in the middle of the map. We've got that red mangonel coming forward from the Max, supported by one of those monks that we expected to see. A few knights in tow from Rubenstock and a massive Expos going straight for that pocket player. This is such a Suomi play. They group up as 3 as soon as they hit castle, and they attack the pocket player. We've seen this time and time again.
Indeed, and Ondo calls it Age of Kill the Pocket. And MBL gives up both his gold spots, takes all villagers, now runs towards the side at the... Well, the gold is here at the right-hand side. Drops a TC there, will be greeted by some lions, but should have enough villagers.
Yeah, massive knights and those expos coming over from Lyria. A really good expo numbers out of the Chinese player. So if those knights can link up, perhaps they can push back this pressure that's coming in to Hera or to MBL's base, pushing them off of that forward gold.
Oh, MBL, nice interception there together with Hera. Look at how many monks and mangonels they are trying to get here. Got one monk, gets one mangonel. Another villager will die as well. That's some interception. Lovely.
Yeah, really good awareness there to cut off the line of reinforcements. Now Suomi finds themselves in a bad spot. Crossbows behind, crossbows in front, knights coming in. The knights throw out conversions, but they're onto the expos, not onto the knights that are coming from behind. So the clear up will come through for MBL and the rest of AM. Lyria a little bit behind the pace, but there are plenty of knights out in front for the Frank player to push back this pressure from Suomi.
Oh, that's not what you monk rush for. Look at that, another monk going down by the max. That's horrible for him. You don't go monk rush to then convert 2 crossbowmen. You're there to convert mangonels, to go for knights or something more expensive.
Oh my goodness, disaster there. And actually take a look at this, an uncommon second siege workshop being dropped by the max, this one in his base, so maybe changing the angle of attack, saying, look, we've lost control of the middle. That siege workshop isn't going to be terribly useful to me in the position that it's in. Perhaps we need to look at a different angle and push through the left side.
The story untold so far, though. Rubenstock, he didn't go for a lot of army. He did drop 2 extra TCs. He's only now going for the stables. That's why they are pushed back, which is fine. It is fine to be pushed back here, as long as Rubenstock really snowballs. The thing is, at the moment, not a lot of gold control for the long run. Would have loved to see a force TC on the left-hand side.
Right, Suomi may have been pushed out of the middle, but they haven't lost too much control because of those early walls that they dropped, so that's afforded them the opportunity to drop back and defend their production buildings here. A little pressure onto the Ethiopian player, but it won't turn into much. I do want to call out this small mass of expos that Hera has had patrolling around the back of Suomi's base, currently harassing the gold from Rubenstock, but he's done really good work about keeping those expos active.
Absolutely, and that's what we saw from Lyria before as well. Just moving them out, getting some control. And Hera sees, okay, there's not a lot of stuff happening there. He is even dropping a siege workshop. Maybe some mangonel aggression coming from the outside.
Yeah, forced Rubenstock to send 5 knights back to deal with those expos, so the cleanup will come through. But good distraction, as you mentioned, that siege workshop coming up on the left side for Hera, so perhaps a push being set up over there, as we see the TC is up on the right-hand side for MBL, and some blue villagers of Lyria making their way out there. Suomi, on the other hand, hasn't made their move for the outside gold piles just yet.
You say the TC of MBL is up. I can show you something else that is up. 65% Mr. Lyria already, and he has a lot of crossbow, soon to be obelisk.
I don't even know what to say to that. The fact that the man made it to 65% and you had to call it out for me to see it is what tells you how far ahead of the pace this guy is.
Well, the Max is trying to follow up as well, but he doesn't really have the numbers, right? 5 monks at the moment. Even if you get block printing, you won't be able to address 40 obelisks.
Yeah, and here it is. He clicks up to Imp. That's a huge resource dump from the Teutonic player, and right as he clicks, 2 mangonel pressure, knights and expos now pushing into his base.
Rubenstock need to be there for the big defense. I think he should have enough numbers there. 20 knights against 9 knights and 15 crossmen. He should then win this one if he's not eating the biggest mangonel shots ever. Production continues. 3 stables there. Mangonel gets the 1-for-1 trade and loses the siege workshop.
All right, 1-for-1 trade. I like the knight numbers, as you called out, from Rubenstock. So they're going to give up the siege workshop, but they should be able to defend that TC. You see more monasteries being dropped on the hill for the max. So continuing to go for those powerful Teutonic monks. And we see the capped Rams already for the Chinese player pushing onto the Ethiopians. The early Imp coming up big for Leary. He doesn't even have Arbalest yet, but he doesn't need it. It's the Siege that's going to do the damage.
Yeah, and he can't get punished because Hera bought so much time at the left-hand side so that all the knights are over there. And, well, Leary is just so early. Also realizing, okay, I'm an Imp. I get those upgrades for all my units quite cheap.
Yeah, the very cheap Chinese upgrades for pretty much everything. Arbalest coming in now, taking down the first of the two ranges. Going to leave the second one up as they transition the pressure towards the middle of the map with those capped Rams. Going to clear out some of those military buildings and maybe some of these stone walls from Suomi. If they can blow open this middle part of the map, all of a sudden that discussion that we had at the beginning of the game about these wood lines becomes very awkward. Because while it's well defended right now, as soon as this gets opened up, AM has access to all three bases.
Oh god, and then they can decide where do we want to go. And Monks, they need some protection. Them alone are doing nothing because Leary can just out-micro them so easily. Elise is trying to go for some stone walls behind now. That's not the equal one to see. Theocracy now block printing for the max as well. Meanwhile, left-hand side, Hera is trying to address Rubenstock on the outside there. When it comes to gold.
Oh, Rubenstock is in. Yep, he's in the MBL's base right now through the gate. We've got Knight engagement from both players. Looks like MBL will be able to clear it up with just pure Knight numbers at this point. Not all of Rubenstock's making it into that base. So while, yes, I appreciate the attempt at the raid, you've just thrown all your defensive numbers away while a ram push is coming up the middle.
Yeah, MBL was like, oh, Knights in my base, call an ambulance. But not for me.
Damn right. Call the ambulance to ship them on out of here just as soon as they've arrived. And now the Knight numbers are nowhere to be found for Suomi, as interestingly enough, Rubenstock does get his TC up on the outside, but Hera will throw down a Siege Workshop on the left hand to try and keep them off of gold.
Oh, and that's so annoying. Lion's still there, and oh no, the max let all villagers down. They wanted to build the TC.
Great movement from those Arbalests from Hera. Picks off all of the red villagers. The Max has no options left to continue building that TC until this army gets cleared up. It's just one TC and two Knights in defense of Suomi over there. And while all that's happening, Leary continues to steamroll through the middle, pressure onto the Max's base. They've broken open that wall. Rubenstock is next with no Knight numbers to follow. He's panic dropping stables. Take a look at the back of the base as Velez gets the walls opened up to try and come in to salvage this all, but it's looking disastrous for Suomi at this point.
Oh god, he's losing all the stables there. He is at 40% towards the Imp, but how is he climbing with the Knight numbers? That's not really going to happen. Look at how full the queues are. 4 Knights queued up because he's losing all the production at the front. Meanwhile, left-hand side is completely ugly for him as well. Crossman around, Mangnell doing the pressure. This is looking horrible for Rubenstock.
Yeah, there's 1,000 resources sitting in those stables right now waiting to be made, but only so much can be done in so little time as the Siege from Leary continues to push forward. The incessant Knight numbers from MBL pushing forward. He himself, though, not quite on the way to Imp just yet. So continuing the castle flood with the second attack upgrade coming in. The mass exodus of villagers coming to the left-hand side, but they're going to run into a TC from Hera and those continued crossbows.
Oh, and the Monks, they aren't getting the conversions at the top. Villagers still annoying, trying to fight this one down. Finally, the TC goes up, but so many losses for Rubenstock there. He can't keep up with this production.
Yeah, Max may have found his way onto gold, but while he's finding gold, Rubenstock is finding death at his door. It's himself and Velez against the world. But with Rams, Knights, and Arbalests, it looks all for naught. There are no options as the TCs go down and the villagers have nowhere to run. Yes, there's a hill held by the Arbalests, but at this point, Imp doesn't matter for Rubenstock. He clicks plate barding. It's going to be a minute or two till that comes in, and at this point, I feel like the damage is done.
Absolutely. Look at the KD simply of Leary. 60-11 at the moment, now taking the final fight here of the game. Rubenstock, he has to hope for more luck in game number 7.
Wow, 3-3. We've gone the distance. 7 games. These teams have really shown up for us here on the day. AM striking back after what was a couple tough losses in a row, and we felt momentum squarely in Suomi's favor. We will continue to call out that questionable Teutons pick here on this map.
Didn't really see the advantage or the value in that pick coming into play.
I think we need to take a look at the civilizations to put some more thought into that, because like I will try to theory craft a bit more. Let's take a look at the statistics first.
Yes, let's do it.
Leary 63-13 in the end.
Wow. Losing 13 units out of the course of a 35-minute game while killing 17 buildings and having an army of 74. Wow.
74 is just crazy, yeah. Not losing anything there. The max, 38 units built, or 38 units lost, 11 largest army. Doesn't sound that crazy to me either.
Man, 26-minute imp time. Casual 26-minute imp time. Rubenstock had the Villager High, but the Villager High was not enough to outdo the pressure that was created by the AM squad. I love the decision by MBL to stay Castle. He stayed Castle Age that entire game, got that secondary attack upgrade on the Knights, and just flooded with numbers.
Yeah. Very, very true. So let me think about it. Why do we have Teutons? We are expecting a Monk Rush. It was pick number 4. The opponent does not have Byzantines. The opponent does not have Malay. The opponent does not have Britons. They actually have Malay. Malay is so good against Teutons as well.
Malay, Huns, Japanese against Vikings, Mongols, Magyars.
I don't see Magyars with the early attack upgrade and feudal gives them such good control as the cavalry civ. Mongols are going to have the quick early feudal time to to establish map control and make sure that they move into feudal with good standing. Viking Eco is going to kick into high gear from feudal to castle and give them a really amazing late game. And the response, well, yes, Huns is a very versatile civ, and Malay are happy to go Arbalest and have decent uptimes. I just don't see at what point in the game. I don't know. This is very tough. It's very tough to figure out how this one's going to play out.
Well, Canyon Lake, it's a brutal map for sure. But game number 7 is next, and I have a transition to play the hype song before that one. So we will talk to each other in 2.5 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
Secret waiting in the grand finals of this $21,000 tournament, trying to find out who they're playing, Aftermath or Suomi. We are going to distance, game number 7. Canyon Lake, Suomi's pick, if you can still speak of picks in game number 7. Still left. Go ahead.
At this point, you leave everything out there on the field, right? And while I think it is actually a relevant point that this is Suomi's pick of map. While yes, being the last one, you've got to believe to some degree that these 3 civs, the 3 civs that we're still struggling to figure out how they all work together, they were picked for a reason.
Mongols,
picked for a reason,
maybe
and they have
the crazy aggression at the start again. Vikings, cheaper dog for the team, also strong economy at the outside. Magyar could go for a lot of scouts with a lot of aggression. Hans probably the pocket, Malay and Japanese the flank positions. My buddy is so ready to jump into this game.
I'm ready too. Double clicking to load up. I'll let you know when I hit that 10-second mark. Boom, I'm at 10.
Okay, then 8, 9, 10. Here we go. All deciding game. Who gets third, fourth? Who has a shot to the title?
Deciding semifinal, best of 7 that's gone the entire distance. Suomi AM, 2 of the best teams in the world, looking to move on and challenge Team Secret in our finals, our grand finals taking place tomorrow. Taking a look at what they've come out onto the field with one final time. Suomi first in the red trunks. It's Zupi with the Mongols on the flank. The Max is back into the pocket position on the Magyars, his comfort zone. And then on the other flank, we find Velez with the Vikings.
Indeed. Lovely positioning for them here. Exactly what we want to see in the game number 7. Roomstock has to go to the bench again. And Zupi, he's back. He was waiting. He was looking at his teammates probably. And now has to deliver again after sitting out for some games. On the other side, we have Leary again with a flank. Japanese here. We have Nikov in the pocket position. Extremely interesting to me. And Hera as a flank with Malay.
Okay, so MBL out of the lineup. Both teams making a roster swap moving into the final game of the series. I want to call out the fact that Zupi is in, like you said, and he is the one with that Mongols pick. I know it's one of Zupi's favorite all-time civs. A masterful player when it comes to Mongols play, in particular, if he's ever able to make it to those Mengadai. That's a long way off, though, we know. So it'll be about that feudal time, transitioning to castle, and the eventual transition into Mengadai for Zupi.
And just think back, it feels like an eternity ago. But short distance Colosseum, Leary against Zupi, how he owned him there. And maybe this is the time for Zupi to return the favor. Maybe this time he will be the one playing Pop 19, Pop 20, early aggression, and he can put on the pressure with archers and early fletching.
Looking for revenge this time around. It should be mentioned that water is a factor on this map, and we do see the first player make their move towards the middle. It was Leary with Japanese fishing ships and cheaper wood buildings on his lumber camp that will allow him to get that early dock up. But Nili, perhaps you can talk about some of the different strategies we've seen teams approach. We've seen anything from a single player going to the middle and trying to play water himself to a pocket player getting the fish advantage while a flank player plays defense with the fire galleys.
Yeah, and we have so many options there that we can't even all mention, right? We also had like the pocket player going full water while the flanks try to play aggressively. Then one flank goes archers, the other one goes for scouts. So many different options with so many different civilizations. Typically, we see Lithuanians and Persians as the pocket here, though. So those are kind of the B-tier civilizations with Huns and Magyars, which is kind of rough to say that Huns or Magyars are a B-tier civilization in the pocket position.
3 players now out to the middle. 2 for Suomi, 1 for AM. It's the Max
and Zupi out to the middle, so Mongol player and Magyar player, but it was scouted immediately by the AM guys, so there won't be any surprises here when it comes to water.
Oh, I think the initial plan was Zupi maybe trying to control the water. But the super fast Mongol uptiming, that could be something.
You know, I think it's of note that when Secret played this map and Nilly, you were in and actually went aggressive on water, it gave Viper the ability to boom essentially unmolested, but also while not having to put too much onto wood and gold to produce military on the water. So it was kind of like a double boost for Viper, not only to have the fish, but to not have to put resources into eco that wouldn't aid his Castle Age army of knights.
Yeah, and even a third factor that we don't really talk about, but every human being that we all are, to believe it or not, if you look at the max playing sometimes, we only have limited amount of clicks, right? And if you're trying to fire galley demo micro in the center point, getting raided at home is just really, really tough.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're going to be fighting battles on multiple fronts in this map. We see a fourth dock drop now, this one for Nikov. So both teams have 2 players in the center. Will make for a very interesting feudal battle, and we might have a situation exactly like you talked about, where each of the flank players are trying to protect the pocket players, so that the pocket players can pay more attention to their land ecos and make sure that they make it to castle without being interrupted.
Hera with the latest uptime here, pop 23, not very typical for him. Probably will just play, obviously melee, then you can go for it a bit later. Will still have a very reasonable fuel age timing, and indeed, Zupi going for water, while we have just scout openings from the pockets. Leary sending his second villager as well. So, we should see a bloodbath on the Zupi versus Leary side, because they can't really defend on land.
Absolutely. We have another dock coming down for both of those players. So Mongols and Japanese looking to go heavy aggression on water, which again, as you mentioned, if their focus is on water, that means there's opportunity for them to be hit on land. So we're looking for, how do Nikov and Hera do damage, or how do Velez and the Max do damage to the player that's focus is being split to the middle of the map.
4 scouts in the center now, another villager coming over. Feudal age timings not really being reached here. Actually, for the 2 retreating players reached, but the villager was too scary, and the Suomi players are going back. Interesting decision. Leary even goes for a third dock here. For now, Zupi only with 2.
Now, aggressive, yeah, third forward dock here. The production of the fire galleys is immediately queued up, and so we'll have action soon enough around these fishing ships in the middle.
And I think Zupi will stay on 2 docks, because he queues up way too many fire galleys here to go for 3 docks. So that will be 2 docks and 3 docks for Leary. So eventually Leary will win the water, but his castle age timing should be way later.
Right, as long as he keeps up that production and focuses on the micro, Leary should come out on top here. Oh, and that's a great start to an engagement, catching that first fire ship off guard. The micro for Leary, is it there? It's going to get run around.
It looks like he's taking a way better fight. Now goes for the fishing ships even here, but you don't really want to go for the fishing ships of a Japanese player. That's a really bad start here for Mr. Zupi. Tries to go for the repair, but how can he outproduce 3 docks?
Yeah, those fishing ships are effectively tanks in this game at this point with that extra armor. Expect these 2 players, though, to go back and forth plenty on water. We know the repair meta is alive and well in AoE 2DE. You see both of the players pulling back those fire ships.
Those are super low. The villager very exposed. The demo needs to connect now, Leary. Let's take a look how big he eats. The demo is now coming out.
Oh, that could be a big demo. All right, a decent hit, getting damage onto multiple. 1 fishing ship did go down, though, for Zupi, and he is still on those 2 docks. So like you talked about, the production for Leary is about to be overwhelming.
And Nikov's even complementing this fight by sending his scouts in there as well. Gets some final kills, gets the villager, and, well, that's what we said. 2 against 3 not going to work. The Max, he will lose his fish now, while Nikov, he will still have 3 fishing ships behind us.
I love that scout play. I absolutely love that scout play. What an advantage that Nikov just created in the middle of the map. Not only is it a Vil kill, but you've removed that repair option for Zupi. Already behind on docks. Can't add a third unless he sends another Vil over. And look at this. Leary's already onto the fishing ships of the Max. And this is damage done to the pocket while Nikov is booming away.
Oh, yeah, and we just saw the first demo of Zupi not really doing too much. Belize, he's trying to go for the cheeky move, completely ignores Hera and just instantly goes for Nikov, who should not have the greatest defense. Defensive tower being dropped at the woodline means gold is open, but the gold is so close to the TC, I think there shouldn't be too many losses.
Yeah, I like that. 6 archers with fletching. We'll see where they can find some damage, but they will get spotted by one of the scouts of Nikov. So awareness that at least Velez is out on the map with some military.
Zupi, heavy investment there with the fire galley. I think just going demo might have been the better choice here.
Zupi losing 2 Vils on his gold. All the way in his base. The scouts are in. Nikov just picked off 2 Vils on his gold. So Zupi being just run around the map right now, taking losses out in the middle, taking losses on land. A real struggle for him right now.
Oh, yeah, and, well, now he switches to the demo choice there, not looking too pretty for him, and, well, he's sitting at 7 food, only now dropping some farmers. He will be very late to the castle age as well. While we look at Mr. Leary, well, he can add fishing ships now.
All right, taking advantage of that control of the middle. He's going to get some fishing ships out there alongside Nikov's to continue to boost the eco. Actually, Nikov's fishing ship sitting idle currently as he, I think, was responding to some of the Magyar scouts that had made it to the back of his base. Hera lending some aid with those melee archers. So good defense and teamwork by them. Take a look at the bottom side of your map. 7 Magyar scouts moving forward towards Leary's base, possibly Nikov's as well. So maybe the next opportunity for Suomi to do some damage.
Yeah, but Leary looks really bulletproof here. Defensive archer range, barrack, close to it. It's like those scouts, they shouldn't get in, and villagers so close to the TC. I think if you find damage, then it's normally at a woodline.
And so he'll continue to rotate around back up to the top side. The Max running Nikov's scouts into Velez's archers will force them back. So the two agree to a bit of a ceasefire on the top side of the map as the Max still looks for that damage with those Magyar scouts. +1 attack. Can he get onto this gold here?
Oh, look at that. Nikov preemptively walling there as well. Not the greatest walls, but has a spearman around, sees what's happening. Down. Oh, the villager's kind of trapped. Is he losing a single one? One goes down.
All right, 1 Vil down. Scouts will get out. Not too much worse for the wearer. The scouts are pulled back from Nikov in response.
Oh, Bloodlines gets a lot of hits off there. Magyar's
Very
obviously
good
having
hits.
forging. On the way to Castle Age is Mr. Velez now.
Take a look at this, though. Scouts meeting up. So he's dragging him. Oh, nice heads-up play from Nikov, though, recognizing that's the last place I saw those extra scouts and archers from Velez, so I'm not going to continue the chase. But the Max has a very deadly army of 11 scouts back here between Hera and Nikov. They need to do a good job tracking these.
You could make an argument that the Max is overproducing scouts now, because every one of the AM players just did a very good job of walling the woodline, as it should be, right? So you're basically counting on AM making mistakes, but they aren't.
That's a very good point. Very safe ecos now against just an army of scouts for AM. Castle times are starting to come through. Some of them, different players just cresting that 50% mark. So where can they get damage done once they hit that castle age? Looks like Suomi's lost total control of the middle of the map, but at this point, fish is starting to dwindle. So eco advantages for AM, but they'll have to use them.
Scouts, the Max is so desperately trying to find any damage, but it's now next to the TC, no villagers going down, and Nikov is just happy to take this engagement on TC.
Yeah, interesting fight choice. Feels like he needs to get something done. He does have the advantage of that extra point of damage and even investing into armor there. So a big upgrade advantage between the two armies. But the scouts will be losing their value as each of the players makes it to castle.
Yeah, that's
still
why...
can be effective in raiding, but...
Yeah, but that's why he's so desperately trying to go for it. Could maybe make another attempt trying to find any holds, trying to find any overchops, but not really given there either. I think the next big story could be Velez against Terra at the top. Big crossbowman armies pretty soon.
Yeah, big crossbowman army had moved forward, decides to head back as he reaches the crossbow tech. I think Velez is someone who shouldn't be ignored, when we talk about the way that this game develops, because Viking player, we know that that eco is strong, and he hasn't suffered really any damage so far in this game. So soon enough, I expect a second and a third TC to drop, and if he doesn't get touched, Velez could end up being the carry for the final game here on Suomi's side.
Problem is, though, his woodline is really exposed, and that's kind of the most exposed raid spot on the full map. He is getting ballistic now, tries to go aggressively, but I don't really see any support from the max at the moment. And then if we fight even numbers against Terras and night support of Nikov is around, that doesn't look too great for Velez.
Yeah, struggling to find a point of attack here on Velez's side. We've got Leary already forward with his crossbows, just forcing some idle time, and the Siege Workshop defensively out of Zupi here on the top of his hill. So better pressure coming out of the AM side early into Castle.
Hera standing his man, standing his hill, and forcing Velez to run. Obviously wanted to find some damage there, but Hera's production is so solid. Look at that, 31 military at the moment in Velez, 27. So he continued producing as well, but not against Hill.
Numbers advantage for Hera, upgrade advantage for Velez, having one of the armor upgrades over Hera at the moment. Still not confident in taking the fight, though, because of the hill advantage that Hera had and those numbers.
Leary actually went for a reasonable amount of crossbow there as well. The Zupi goes for the defensive Mangonel. Look at the score difference between Zupi and Leary. That doesn't look fair.
No, oh my goodness.
He tried to
1,700. 17. That's me. That's me in this game. What the question will be about the recovery, right? Well, a lot of that's going to look bad because of the losses he took in the middle of the map, trying to play defense for the max. Is the time that he bought the max in the back of the map, now with Knights coming forward, enough for the famed pocket player of Suomi to do damage? Ooh, forced to send his Knights back, though, because of the pressure that's being applied to Velez's base on the top side of the map.
And that could have been a way better fight there with all the Knights around. It was Hera fighting man on man there against Velez for quite some time. And yeah, Knights are coming over, and a horrible story for Zupi as well. He had so little map control. Look where he was forced to build his castle. That's so defensively.
Oh my goodness. Behind his base, below the hill, just to hold on to a wood line, some stone, and protect maybe that gold as well. He'll be eager to get a second castle up, and this one being forward, but he's on his way to those Mengadai that we talked about. So if this game can extend, if Suomi can find a way to extend it, we know the power of Mongols late.
Ooh, but that's a big if, my man. That's 3 TCs now being dropped. He's sitting at 47 liters. Leary's sitting at 62. He already has reasonable masses. He dodges that Mangonel shot as well. And
engagement to the north. The Max has his Knights in. Onto the crossbows here from Hera. Knights on both sides, crossbows on both sides. Crossbow numbers are low, but the reinforcements are quicker from Velez. So smaller number advantages there, and the hill for the Max. This could be the fight that they need to get advantage. He's got tons of upgrades on these Knights compared. Both armor, both attack upgrades by virtue of being Magyars to just the armor upgrade of Nikov. They're going to shove AM back. Now they need to find some damage.
Oh, yeah, I think... seriously, ASAP. Zupi is so far behind in economy, they don't have the point. I think this is the spot where the Max should just drop 8 stables and try to make something happen in Castle Age.
Wholeheartedly agree. So with the eco expanded as he has it, now it's about getting that production up, getting the military numbers out onto the map. We can see still on 2 stable production. So waiting for maybe a 3rd and a 4th stable to come up. But again, where can they get the damage done? They haven't found the inn. These bases are well protected by AM.
Yeah, that's such a good job, and this is really an easy map to have holds, an easy map to have overchops, not taking care at some spots, but AM so extremely aware. I'm impressed.
Well, Velez has retreated back to his base to build up his archer numbers. So I'm going to take this time to just quickly scroll through the ecos and see where everybody's at. We've got 3 TCs now for the Viking player on full boom status. Let's see, we've got 3 for the Max as well. We've moved on to a 2nd and 3rd for Zupi with 1 castle up. Leary onto no extra TCs, but he does have the fish in the middle, and we know that Leary can benefit from that, and his 1 TC play already up
50%
to him is phenomenal. Oh my god, he does it every time! Every time, Nilly, this guy beats everyone to Imperial Age off of 1 TC. Ballistic's coming in. I'm ready for the micro show.
Yeah, I think it's at this point it's just patrolling in show, honestly. I think against the Zami, does he need to micro against? Killing 2 Mangonels, he doesn't need too much if he's imp against that. And, well, it's still Veles holding his ground at the top here. Hera can just run, though. And, the story, the max against Nikov. Score? I can't really explain that. How is the max that far ahead?
He's booming quite well. I have to imagine that's part of it. Also, probably from a bit of the kills, since he's invested so much into army upgrades. I think he probably came out on top in a lot of those fights and is getting a military boost. The interesting thing to me at this point is the fact that we've got the imp player on one side for AM in Leary versus the first imp player for the other side, Veles, on the opposite side of the map. So this is going to be kind of, which side can either apply pressure faster? How can we utilize that eco of the Vikings to outdo the pressure that's going to come out of the 1 TC from Leary?
Yeah, but already look where the armies are. Veles completely sitting at home, now getting the upgrades. It will take some time till he can even knock at the front door of Hera. On the other side, Leary, basically already in the economy of the max.
He's forcing that tower up on the goal. Just a watchtower at this point. Max could go for his patented guard tower defense, just because Leary looks like he might force him to do so.
Is he maybe even going for the tower here? Does 80 damage per shot, something like that. So might even just commit here.
Not a problem. He's going to take that tower down as quickly as it was put up, get another few bill picks, and force the Max effectively off of that gold. Just great army position, right timing. As soon as he hits Imp, he's already doing damage. Just now, Veles is moving forward with his Rams and Arbalest, looking to place another forward siege workshop, but the damage is coming through so much quicker for the AM squad.
Oh, and look at that. Leary now splitting off his army slightly to get more volleys off. Doesn't want to over damage. And villagers going down. No, don't tell me this tower's not going up. He kills every single villager. This is 97%. 15 villagers down.
The disaster strike 97% guard tower. It's the doubt guard tower. That could be the disaster point in the game for Suomi. So now we just got to focus on that top side. The capped ram has come through. We've got some knights in support of Arbalest. The push is on in Hera's base. Knights and Expos in defense.
Ooh, Hera. Can he get the upgrades in? Where is he taking Arbalest? I'm expecting one of the back archer ranges, and I was wrong, but the archer range will still take it in time. Thing is, though, that's not really an instant kill here, right? Arbalest numbers should be okay-ish at the moment, even.
No, I think this would be, I agree with you. This would be a kill push if the damage wasn't done to Max. If that were 20 knights instead of 5 knights, because Max's production wasn't interrupted, maybe this would be a kill push. But really intelligent play by Leary to go right past Zupi and attack the pocket player.
And Zupi is just tagging to drill. I'm not really sure what's that about. Like, the speed upgrade for his siege units.
That's some...
He's trying... He tagged in... He's onagers and trying to chase. Okay.
Yeah. He's onagers. He's sending on... That's why he got drill. He's got to send his onagers across the entire map to go help his team on the other side.
I've never seen that before.
These are Ferrari onagers. Let's go.
Really? Going over to the other side. They have a mission. And, well, then Leary just out-micros 2, and then you were like, oh, okay. Did I tech into that?
Siege Ram might be in for Veles, which is usually, again, one of those, moments of kill pressure, but there's not enough cavalry support for the Siege Ram to have permission to go forward into those Knights of Nikov.
Yeah, incredibly behind this, the Max still has more villagers than Nikov, although he didn't have water, and he just lost like 20-25 villagers, so that's really, really impressive by the Max. But the numbers clearly on the side for AM here, and Hera, he seems ready to take this fight.
Yeah, the Max is sitting on 2 military to Nikov's 28, so the number is well in favor of the AM team. They don't need imp upgrades on these calves to take this fight against the Arbalest. They're happy to take it with just the Knights and Hera's Arbs in tow. The Siege Ram, that's a lot of gold, a lot of wood left out to be cleaned up by the AM squad. A huge team fight win for AM. Is it enough for them to take this pressure and push it forward? We see Leary with his Arbalest now harassing the Viking player, so there's going to be no reinforcements coming in to support this fight in the middle of the map. AM look to have it within arm's reach.
Oh man, top lane clearly in favor of AM now. While, well, Zuppy is still deep in the jungle, not really getting everything done here. Tries to intercept some of Leary's army, but Arbalest at the moment still killing the Mango Dice.
Oh, what an impressive positioning of those Arbalests. Picking off 4 Mangudais. They crucially try and come over, stop the bleeding. The responses, the answers here for Suomi are becoming less and less as the seconds roll by. You can see the army positioning of AM, the confidence that they have to move all 3 of those armies forward on the top side of the map. Zupi now attempting to drop a siege workshop in Velez's base in response, but if they shift all of their attention to this top side of the map, you can see here on the bottom side, Leary says, great, I'll bring some Arbalists down to the bottom side and harass you there.
Yeah, and even only eating one shot, then killing the Onager, more villagers going down. The response simply isn't there for Zupi. He gets onto Elite Mangudai, but he needs to get so much more time.
Yeah, the only answer for Suomi at this point now does seem to extend the game, get themselves to a post standpoint, and rely on their ability to play as a team.
Oh, and I'm always about to say, like, oh, big fight in Velez base, but no. There's only AM units here. There's no fight happening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the numbers across the board. 6 military for Velez, 13 for Zupi, and only 16 for the map. The max. The lowest military count on the side of AM is Nikov, the Cav player, with 40.
Oh god, and Zupi's macro not on point, had an Onager there against all the Arbalests just passing by. I'm still waiting for that one shot, but I can see so much burning at Zupi's minimap as well.
Yeah, I feel like we're moments away from AM pulling the trigger and attacking with an all-in. The cavalry upgrade is in along with +4. So Arbalest behind, Leary in support. Yep, the Max has to retreat as he makes his way to Imperial. Just about to finish his plate barding and cavalry upgrade, but it all seems just a little bit too late.
Oh god, and now Velez at pop 60 only in this one. Zupi struggling to stay above 120. The M guys all looking towards pop 200 pretty soon. Onager still getting sniped. I think the Max just waiting for his upgrades and then wants to take one big fight. He is even on the way to take Paladins as well.
Okay, so I wonder if any sling went through now that they're an imp. I didn't really check to see if the resources were aided by any of his teammates, but yeah, Paladin might be the only available answer here. Paladin plus Mangudai. The Elite Mangudai upgrade is in, so if they can get in mass along with a good fight from some Paladin, perhaps they can wrestle control of one half of the map, establish trade, and keep pushing towards post-imp. But this Vikings player, poor Velez, is just getting flooded with military.
And it's also Paladins on the other side for Mr. Nikov here. I don't really see them winning this one. Yeah, maybe they can take one good fight, one good clear up here with Elite Mangudai and Paladin. They have the mobility, they can take the fights now. They can dictate where they want to fight. But the moment they're not fighting, they're just getting losses everywhere else.
Yeah, there's attempted expansion from Zupi to the bottom right. I like to see that. His Mangudai continue to mass along with the Paladin upgrade that's coming in soon, but they still don't have permission to take this fight. I mean, look at this. The entirety of Max's eco is idled into these TCs by just a couple balls of Arbalest.
Oh yeah, and Terra, he's only caring about that for quite some time. No production at all from him. And look at the production here of Nikov in his stables. 13 Paladins here, 6 Paladins there. 12, 11, 12. So his queue is so long. He just dropped another 7 stables at the front.
Yeah, Paladin may be just about to come in for the Max, but it's already in for Nikov as they jump on these Arbalists here that are harassing the Max's eco. Great, you're going to clear up this push, but guess what? There's a whole nother wave on its way right now.
And it's full 3v2 from here on, and it's not a very strong 2 either. The last 50 population for him at the moment. Lots of idle villagers, can't really do anything, just sitting into his TCs. Tries to run with villagers, but running into Paladin and Arbalest masses.
Yep, they cleared up the mess inside the Max's base, so this could be the deciding moment moving forward to try and help Velez clear everything out. We've got Paladins on one side alongside Mangudai against Paladins on the other with Arbalest in tow. So there you have it. 1 melee, 1 range for each squad. What will it be? They've engaged with the hill advantage. That might be the only thing that saves Suomi in this situation, but the numbers of Arbalest seem big enough that they will cut through all of the Mangudai on the backside. The Paladin, though, coming out on top for the Max. So they've traded one side to the other. It looks like this fight is won, but Nilly, the question is, how can they support this? Will they really be able to gain any ground after winning this fight?
Oh, the big problem behind this is also all the extra golds that were kind of in the part of the last maps now belong to AM as well. They got 2 corners. They did set up trade or at least markets now. They will go for it. And AM, they are going into the finals because Suomi realizes we can't win this game anymore.
There, they called it. They took their one last shot at a fight. I respect the fight that they put up in this one, but realizing that even with coming away with a small win there, Leary's Arbalest with another flood into the eco wasn't enough for them to regain control of the game, and they throw in the towel. AM, after being down 3-2 in the series, will string 2 back-to-back to move on to the finals and challenge Team Secret.
Oh boy, and that's going to be a best of 9 tomorrow. Starting with the draft 14 GMT, I expect the games to start like 14:45 GMT, and that was an incredible series here. Going to distance always excites me.
It really was. It really was. If we take a look at the statistics for that 7th and final game real quick, I think it's Leary that we got to point to again, who just had such incredible damage and water control. It all started there in the center with that 3rd dock and beating Zupi out for the water control, along with the scouts sent over by Nikov to pick up that Vil and just kind of set AM off on the right foot.
Yeah. Also the 2 dock versus 3 dock decision, right? Yeah, against Japanese it's not easy, but then the transition should be easier. I think then it's just you should go for more demos instead of trying to fight fire galleys 2v3. But obviously I'm just sitting here and just saying something, and now we have the story behind this a bit. Look at the sling statistics.
Okay, I have to, yeah. I gotta check that out.
17k received for Nikov. Ooh. That's how he got onto those Paladin numbers.
Okay, that's intriguing because I would have expected, in fact, to be the other way around. I would have thought that it would have been Suomi doing some sling at the last minute to try and get back into it and accelerate Max to the Paladins, but the Max did that entirely on his own eco, and in fact, it was an intelligent play by AM to match that impressive eco from the Max to get Nikov to Paladin and make sure they could hold off that last-ditch effort.
Yeah, well, no one really there to sling them, right? Velez was sitting at 1 working villagers, 40 in total or something. Zupi was kind of trying to get to Elite Mangudai, Tech to Onagers, Drill, all expansive upgrades as well. So, not really an option.
Super, super exciting series. I gotta ask you now that we know what the finals matchup is, and as a representative of Secret, what's the overall feeling? Was this the expectation from your guys' camp that AM would be the ultimate challenger in the 3v3 tournament?
I said AM is going to be in the finals against us, and there were some people I think Doubt called it even. Viper also expected AM to win. I know that Tado thought Suomi was better, and so it was actually really, really mixed on our end. But I think AM versus Secret is the final that everyone wants to see.
Yeah, I mean, especially after that display in general, and the dominance that you guys showed in your 4-1 victory over Yin Yang is part of what excites me. It's the closeness of this series contrasted to the 4-1 more dominant series on your side. I'm excited to see how well Aftermath can challenge Secret and maybe push us all the way to the 9 tomorrow.
Oh, that would be crazy, and a crazy long day as well. We also have to say, though, 4-3, I think we can make a reasonable argument to call Suomi the 3rd best team in the world at the moment.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to make an argument for the other way. Exactly. Suomi is absolutely a top-tier team. You know, we saw that the difference in this series is 1 or 2 decisions over the course of the whole series because they only needed 1 game to go differently, right? And so, we could have just as easily been in a universe where tomorrow's final was Team Secret versus Suomi, and that speaks volumes to the individual prowess of each of those Suomi players.
Okay, but then I won't let you go before you give me a prediction of tomorrow's best of 9 AM against Secret.
Okay, my best of 9 prediction tomorrow will be it'll be a 5-3 victory for Team Secret. I do not think it'll go the full 9. I think that one of the things that Secret does incredibly well is quite obviously preparation. In terms of civ drafting, I think that's one of the things that I generally come away with. Usually what's funny about it is when you see the draft, from a bird's eye view, you see all the draft holistically. I don't necessarily see an advantage, but then somehow game to game, Secret always seems to craft the right set of 3 to give them an advantage, and kind of play the drafting really intelligently. So I think that's one advantage, and then I think the other advantage that Secret has is that method of army control that I talked about in one of the previous games, where Secret does such a phenomenal job of dictating fights regardless of military numbers, simply by threatening damage in ways that can't be ignored. So by getting into the back of the opponent's base and saying, your numbers are bigger than ours, yes, and we will lose this fight, but if you ignore us, we're going to do enough damage to your eco that you can't. That is one of the ways I see Secret most effectively controlling the pace of the game, and even when you guys are behind, ultimately turning it in your favor.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Colosseum game there, right? At least.
Yes,
it
exactly.
felt like you re-described the Colosseum game. The big question will be, will AM allow Secret to get into the back of the game? Back of the base? Will they allow the aggression? Or will AM, as they did in Colosseum, take the full control and put the pressure onto Secret?
Really, really good question. I think Leary could be a big difference maker for AM. If AM is going to win, I think seeing Leary play at his highest level, continuing to have that archer aggression on 1 TC and really control pace that way. Whereas Secret, we know you guys excel in the late game. You're going to get that trade up first out of most teams. You're going to have an established map presence and an idea of what the pressure points are to push. So I think it's going to take a little bit of individual outplaying from AM if they want to come out on top tomorrow.
Well, could be on the cards, right? We will see how the lineups are looking. And I'm excited for tomorrow. Dash, I have to give you a huge thank, my man. Give some Nili love in the chat, guys, for Dash if you enjoyed him. Maybe write him a message, say how enjoyable it was. I did spoiler the results before the series started, and I was so pissed at myself.
Did you really?
I did it. And people called me out, like 5-6 people did write into the chat, and I was so pissed at myself. I honestly, I really didn't feel great. And then you came over with your energy, with your analytics, with your passion, and you made it so enjoyable for me that after game 1, I completely forgot about this and enjoyed the whole ride with you.
Well, that's probably the greatest compliment I could receive. So thank you for that. And I'm glad the games served us, right? That series swept us up, and, the passion was there because the players delivered. And that's the most exciting part. I just want to throw a thank you as well to your whole community who's watching for giving me a shot and indulging me. I know I'm not the most knowledgeable AoE player, while I still have a base level of knowledge, and then I'll extend that thank you to you, Nili, for being an incredible casting partner, especially with that lack of knowledge that I have. So thank you for the hand holding and an incredible experience.
Chat actually said several times how impressed they were with your knowledge about players, about storylines, about how the games to play, about the civilizations. So don't go too hard on yourself, my man. That was very high level, even if you don't see it yourself.
Fair enough. Thank you. And we'll get better. I'm actually, I'm super excited to see tomorrow's series. I think it's going to be an incredible end to an incredible event. A lot of high level play and just the way that this entire scene, I'll leave it with this. The way this entire scene has grown over the last 4 years. I mean, I played this game when I was just a little boy, and I've had a love of it my entire life, but being reintroduced to AoE 2 about 4 years ago and being able to watch what you and T90 and Memb and Robo and the entire ECL crew and Microsoft now getting involved, Red Bull now getting involved. The way that this community has just flourished and developed, it's been fascinating to watch. I hope it keeps going. Keep throwing your support out there, and what a phenomenal competitive scene we have. I mean, I'm never left wanting for more competitive content because there's always stuff happening in the AoE2 scene, which is fantastic. Fantastic.
And also, you are joining the competitive scene. On Thursday,
Damn right.
we will have a 2v2. Me and Dash against Terra and Spirit of the Law.
Yeah.
Best of 5.
We're going to throw down. You know that Hera's coaching me right now, so we have to beat him because I have to beat my coach.
Okay. You know, he taught me like several hours as well. So absorb everything, my man.
Oh, yeah. No, I told him my goal through about 5 weeks of coaching with him is to go from 1,300 to 1,600.
Okay.
But even just beating him in this best of 5 would speak volumes. So let's get it.
Well, I'm excited.
Alrighty. Sounds good, man. Well, you go crush tomorrow's series, and then we'll focus up on our 2v2. But with that, I think I'll say goodbye to you and chat. Thank you again for the opportunity, and can't wait for tomorrow.
Thank you so much, my man.
All right. Have a good one, everyone. See you, Nilly.